that says live. About chat. There. Alrighty. Sweet, and now I got an email saying I'm live. Awesome. And it says one watching. That's good. So I'm gonna noodle around until I see people, come in the chat, and then we'll get started. How's that sound? All right. Now let me go back to this and just there. All right. Guess I'll start now. Hey guys, Raider and Shades here. Exercise my first to memorize stream style. Apologies in advance if I sound kind of unprepared or rusty or out of it. I realize it's been a while, and admittedly I decided at the very last minute that I wanted to stream today about this because I really feel this is something worth talking about, and it's not really something that I want to write a script for since I'm already kind of working on a script right now. I'll just, talk a little about this here, and maybe we'll probably talk about some other stuff too. So, I'm sure you've probably seen or heard something about this by now. This was brought to my attention in a Discord server that I'm a part of, and I saw some people posting about it on Facebook. I shared the article on my Facebook page, and that's what I'm going to be, going over with you guys watching. It's about this whole executive order thing about social media. Because right when I heard about this, I knew upon first look that I did not like this. This does not sound good. I'm hopeful that nothing's gonna happen. I don't think something like this could happen, but the fact that it's even being proposed is laughable in itself. Like, here's the thing. I don't hate Trump, but I'm not a supporter of his either. You know, he's not someone that I, go out of my way to shit on or anything like that. Because I feel like I'm someone that kind of feels like I shouldn't be straining myself too much about politics and whatnot because I see what that does to people. But at the same time, shit like this, this is definitely the most hateable thing for me about Trump. And there's certainly things to, talk about, that he's done and said. This right here is the one thing that does kind of get to me a little. Let me say hi to the chat. Well, blame the overgrown child in the White House for the fact that we're even talking about this. Pretty much, the way this was even conceived is hysterical, and we'll talk about this once we, go over the article here. I think Trump is doing this because he is such a spoiled brat that hates being called out on his BS. That's what we're gonna get into. So, all right. U.S. President Donald Trump will sign an executive order targeting social media firms, the White House has said. It comes after he threatened to shut down social media platforms he accused of stifling conservative voices. Now, that right there, on Facebook, I have, seen and heard about instances of certain viewpoints being, getting people post-blocked and getting, taken down or restricted or something like that. I've seen that happen. It leads people to think that, there is a bias against conservatives or something with Facebook and other places. I've always been skeptical of that, of if there's really a bias, but the fact remains is that, shit like this does happen. Like, one thing that comes readily to mind, I think I mentioned this on a stream in the past, my friend Atticus the Death Metaler got post-blocked just for using the phrase white trash, and it's like, really? The latest dispute... shut up, Facebook. The latest dispute emerged after Twitter added fact-check links to his tweets for the first time, and that's really interesting right there, because the fact-check thing, honestly, that should be something that, Trump would be in support of, since, one of his big talking points, his big, things that he pushes is being against fake news. And these fact-check things are pretty much in place for the purposes of pointing out if something is fake news. So, you'd think that maybe if, you'd be, proven wrong about something and a fact-check link is put there because, oh, that's actually not correct, this is actually the case and whatnot, you'd think you'd be like, oh, okay, my mistake. But, apparently, the same calling out fair use stuff that, he was all for, it's now being used on him, and it's all of a sudden now a bad thing, right? The order's details have not been shared, and it's unclear what regulatory steps the president can take without new laws passed by Congress. This is very anti-First Amendment, really. That's why I personally think this really isn't gonna go through. I don't think it really can go through. People are gonna point out, yeah, First Amendment is kind of a big thing with us, and this kind of contradicts it, does it not? Before leaving Washington for Florida to watch a space launch that was postponed due to bad weather. I love that, bad weather. It's not like there's a pandemic or anything. It's bad weather. Well, maybe the weather is bad too, but, I guess that's going on now. Things are starting to, lighten up, I have noticed. Like, actually, this morning when I woke up, I called the place that I go to for my haircuts, and they actually are open. I just need to contact the people, personally to schedule appointments. But, I didn't get an answer when I tried that, so I'm going to try that again tomorrow. Mr. Trump again accused Twitter and other social media of bias without offering evidence. Right. Yeah. So, of course, like I said, a lot of people think that there's a bias on, social media, a bias against conservatives or in favor of conservatives or something like that. And like I said just a little bit ago, I've always been skeptical of those. But let me catch up with the chat. Yeah, I hate how things get blocked or hidden just because of one word. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. Trump just has a fragile ego since he was spoiled as a baby. He never worked a day in his life, and his first million was handed to him by his dad, and they spoiled him, and the rest is history. Yep, welcome to, rich people and stuff. That's why I shut off Facebook before I go into voice chat or live stream. Right. Look, I'm apolitical, meaning I don't give a fuck either way. However, this is fucking stupid, and the First Amendment is super important. Exactly, Oleander. Exactly. That's the big reason why this thing is really, worrying me a little. I'm still skeptical if something like this can really go far and, put into effect or anything like that without somebody saying this is going against First Amendment. But still, the fact that this is even being conceived, the fact that Trump is even thinking about this is ridiculous in itself. What are executive orders? Twitter tags Trump post without fact check warning. Trump threatens to shut these. I guess these are like links to other articles being written about this or something. Mr. Trump also continued his criticism of social media platforms on Twitter, ending a tweet with, "Now they are going absolutely crazy. Stay tuned!" 3 exclamation points. And let's see if I can do an impression here. Big Tech is doing everything in their very considerable power to censor in advance of the 2020 election. If that happens, we no longer have our freedom. I will never let it happen. They tried hard in 2016 and lost. Now they're going absolutely crazy. Stay tuned. The long-running dispute between Mr. Trump and social media companies flared up again on Tuesday when one of his posts was given a fact-check label by Twitter for the first time. So this was the first time it happened, apparently. Again, like I said, you're the one who pushed for, being against fake news and whatnot. People are following that, and now it's, happening against you. You should probably practice what you preach, I guess. He had tweeted without providing evidence, "There is no way, zero, that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent." Why? Fraudulent just because it's mail-in? Okay, that's really dumb. I mean, again, you're talking about this in the time of a quarantine that people still don't really have any idea, even though, I have been given signs that things are lightening up. I actually did get a notification on Facebook, actually, of a concert in, early July, and that makes me really, really excited and hopeful for things, lightening up. But even then, we have no idea how lax things are going to be, going forward. And, I'm skeptical if this is going to be the case, but there's still the possibility that we could still be under quarantine by the time the election takes place, and people will have to use, mail order ballots since, they can't leave their house and whatnot. So the least you can do is, make it easier for them, and, calling it fraudulent just because it's mail-in ballots, that sounds really dumb. If I'm misinformed about this, please let me know, but that's what I think this is regarding. This bill that's proposed is unconstitutional at best, and it's 1984 levels of totalitarian at worst. Exactly. I think Trump is like Prince John from Robin Hood for his childish weaning. You need to deepen your voice and add more nasal cavity. Okay, thank you for your constructive criticism of my impression, Avenue Teal. Twitter added a warning label to the post and linked to a page that described the claims as substantiated. And that seems reasonable. This does seem unsubstantiated. Or at the very least, just really dumb, saying that, mail order ballots, that should be fraudulent, or something. Like, why? Literally, why? On Wednesday, Mr. Trump threatened to strongly regulate, or even close down social media platforms. And that's what's raising an eyebrow for me. Closing platforms. Like, I'm guessing the big target here is Twitter. And make no mistake, I don't like Twitter either. That's the reason I don't have an account there. But, this brings the point I was making in my Don't Watch Can Be Valid video. I don't like the site, so I don't have an account there. So there's really no need to ruin the thing for everybody else and whatnot, because social media is kind of a necessity in day-to-day life nowadays. So closing it down just because, they're just doing what you said people should be doing regarding calling out fake news, no. That's too far. That is really too far. And the same can apply to Facebook. I understand people have their issues with Facebook. Facebook is, my main thing for communicating with people. And, I'm not really sure how much I would be able to function personally without it and whatnot. So I really don't want something like this to happen. Maybe there will come a day where, it goes up in flames or something and people move on to something else. Maybe there will come a day, because I'm sure maybe back in the day, that's what people thought about MySpace. They thought that MySpace was going to be around forever, and that would be the main thing for people to communicate. And then Facebook came around, and, MySpace basically dwindled in popularity. I think it still exists, but, nobody really uses it anymore. He tweeted to his more than 80 million followers that Republicans felt the platforms totally silenced conservatives and that he would not allow this to happen. And like I said earlier, there are instances where the silencing of conservatives does seem, not too unreasonable and whatnot. There are specific instances about that, and I understand that. But something like this, I don't really think is an example of that. They're not, trying to silence you just because you're conservative or because of who you are or anything like that. They're doing it because you got something wrong, or at the very least are just saying something really dumb and whatnot. And now you're overreacting, basically. Twitter's chief executive, Jack Dorsey, responded to the criticism of the platform's fact-checking policies in a series of posts saying, "We'll continue to point out incorrect or disputed information about elections globally." Good. Fact check. There is someone ultimately accountable for our actions as a company, and that's me. Please leave our employees out of this. We'll continue to point out incorrect or disputed information about elections globally, and we will admit to and own any mistakes we make. And that's a fair statement to make about this whole thing, because there probably have been instances where they have made a mistake, whether it be, taking someone down that didn't deserve it, because I heard about that happening with Blair White recently before she got reinstated, in the Don't Watch Can Be Valid video. I talked about that happening with The Amazing Atheist. And there have probably been other instances of somebody, getting terminated and brought back because Twitter realized, hey, we fucked up here. Let's right this mistake. And you can argue if this sounds wishy-washy and whatnot. I'm sure there are probably going to be some people that are going to be like, this sounds really wishy-washy and vague because, he doesn't sound hardlined or anything like that. But I don't really see anything wrong with this over here. Mr. Trump wrote a similar post on Facebook about, mail-in ballots on Tuesday, and no such warnings were applied. So I guess Twitter were quicker to, point that out. I'm sure Facebook probably will do something like that too. Actually, here's a funny story. When I woke up today and checked Facebook, I got a notification saying that a meme that I shared had gotten fact check, and the meme was basically an elaborate Chuck Norris joke. The joke was, I'm going to read this to you because I think this is a really funny joke. I apologize for, going off on a tangent and whatnot, but this all is under, fucking, wait, why am I looking at my notifications? I should be going to my profile. It's all related to, fact checking and whatnot, and just me wanting to, share with you guys something funny. So the post says, coronavirus claims a black belt. Chuck Norris dead at 80. Carlos Ray Chuck Norris, famous actor and fighter, died yesterday afternoon at his home in Northwood Hills, Texas, at the age of 80. Chuck starred in dozens of movies and TV series, which have and continue to entertain millions of people. He was also a master of martial arts, which was the cause of his initial fame in the movie industry. However, after his minor inconvenience of death, Chuck has made a full recovery and is reported to be doing quite well. It has also been reported that the coronavirus is in self-isolation for 14 days due to being exposed to Chuck Norris. So you can tell that this was a joke. You can tell the joke right there. It's a really clever Chuck Norris joke, and that's why I shared it. And when I woke up today and checked Facebook, I got a notification saying, false information found in your post. And it's like, no shit. It's almost like that's what the joke was. And so that's just a funny thing related to fact checking and whatnot. But that's the kind of stuff that happens. And I'm sure that's probably going to happen with Trump talking about the mail-in ballots thing right here. Let me catch up with the chat. I love Robin Hood, one of my favorite Disney movies. I actually haven't seen it. I probably should sometime soon. Thank God I got off Twitter months ago. Good man. Trump, sir, the mail is important and it's not fraudulent. But what do I know? It's not like I live in a mail carrier. I have a mail carrier in my family. Wait. Yes, it's a brilliant joke. Damn you, Facebook. Yeah. But that's the kind of fact-checking stuff that is going on, and I'm pretty sure we actually have Trump to thank for that because of his, railing against fake news and whatnot. That was one of his main, things that he really pushed for in his rise to power and whatnot. And, big surprise, it can be used against him just as much as it can be used against anybody else. Fuck that equality shit, right? In an interview with Fox News on Wednesday, Facebook's chief executive Mark Zuckerberg said censoring a social media platform would not be the right reflex for a government concerned about censorship. Exactly, that doesn't seem unreasonable either. Fox said it would play its full interview with Mr. Zuckerberg on Thursday, which, is today. Okay. So if it's going on right now and you guys are missing that, my apologies. Maybe I'll check it out later. I don't know. Twitter has tightened its policies in recent years as it faced criticism that its hands-off approach was helping fake accounts and misinformation to thrive. And that's basically like what I was saying. I'm pretty sure Trump and his anti-fake news rhetoric is to thank for that. Isn't it? Some of America's biggest technology companies have also been accused of anti-competitive practices and violating their users' privacy. Apple, Google, Facebook, and Amazon face antitrust probes by federal and state authorities and a U.S. congressional panel. Shares in both Twitter and Facebook fell in Wednesday's trading session in New York. Facebook, Twitter, and Google did not immediately reply to requests from the BBC for comment. And that is all for this article. I'm not sure if there's going to be more than I'm going to, read, but that's basically what is going on with that whole thing. But this is very anti-First Amendment, and that's why I really don't think this is going to blow over. But again, the fact that this is even being talked about really kind of speaks volumes on, on Trump mentally and personally and all that. That's like, ooh, they fact-checked me. They'll pay for this. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to shut him down, man, and whatnot. And it's like, no, don't do this. That does kind of fuck you, too, because, Twitter is kind of, your thing, the thing that you use to, communicate to the people and whatnot. And as Emp Lemon stated in his brilliant Trump video, that was a thing that really kind of played in his favor. So why would you fuck yourself by getting rid of that thing? I mean, I'm not into American politics since I'm Canadian. However, yeah, this whole thing is pretty ridiculous, and it does seem to me that nowadays people get way too offended very easily. And that is kind of ironic, on Trump's end, since he's the kind of person that would probably more than likely be saying, oh, those liberals, they're very easily offended special snowflakes and whatnot. They just cannot handle the truth. They can't handle the facts I'm spewing and whatnot. And it's like, come on, dude. What's your favorite Avenged Sevenfold song? Almost easy. Easily offended is such an understatement. It is. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of the last time I remember Trump getting offended at something. Actually, no, there have been multiple times whenever he'd get offended at Alec Baldwin and his SNL performances and whatnot. And there was that time that he and actually, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was just Pence that went to a play and they made fun of Pence over there, and Trump got mad about it. And it's like, listen, free speech kind of gives people just as much of a right as you have to say whatever you want, so long as it's not hurting anybody and, inciting violence and such. So, fucking lighten up. Funny enough, like how Disney bought 20th Century Fox and AT&T bought Time Warner, which became Warner Media, T-Mobile was gonna buy Comcast, who owns Universal, but failed. Did anyone hear about that trans person otherkin on the Twitch safety community? Yeah, I've heard about that. I've watched a number of videos about that person. I'm not really gonna comment too much on, her persona, I guess we can call it, and whatnot. Because, it's obvious that that's ridiculous, the whole thing about eating grass and the whole whimper purr thing that she was doing in that clip. But she's very totalitarian as well, especially, she's like, oh, look at all this power I have, which, not very different from Trump right there. There was also the thing about, oh, all the gamers are white supremacists and whatnot, and I might not be a gamer, but I know for a fact that that's not true, and that's a really fucking retarded thing to say. So fucking shut your mouth. I hate when people are like, actually, your joke is not accurate. Like, no shit, it's an over-exaggeration. When I say Republicans masturbate to pictures of Ronald Reagan, it's not serious. Maybe some do, and if that's what they want to get off to, okay. But honestly, you should really examine nuances, and I get that's probably not something that can be done algorithmically on the internet and whatnot, but still, people should be able to tell when something is a joke. What is your theory on why Trump gets offended and whiny so much? That's a good question. The best I can really fathom about that is it's kind of a human thing. It's not really so much a Trump thing, but I think humans in general are pretty easy to react to when someone criticizes them, and I'm guilty of this too sometimes. Whenever someone steps to them or corrects them or does something like that, they become really reactionary and be like, nuh-uh, you're wrong because I say so, or something like that. And they make it into a fight when they could just as easily not do that. I was talking about that in the Trapped video. How, the mature thing to do would be to just take a step back and just take everything in and, analyze it yourself and come to your own conclusion of if it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, you actually take this into a dialogue so that it doesn't, spiral out of control or anything like that. And Trump, I guess, doesn't seem to want to do that. I guess he thinks of himself as being above that. And so that results in him saying some stupid shit and making some stupid decisions. That's the best I can really say, is that it's a thing with a lot of people. Absolutely agreed, and yeah, I also dealt with an elitist not too long ago who called me an SJW, and to me it seems all they do is use insults against you. That's the problem I have with the term SJW. I think I talked about that in the anti-elitist or SJWs video, how misused it can sometimes be, because there is kind of a specific definition or specific characteristics of what makes someone an SJW. Like me, criticizing something about Trump, that shouldn't, be indicative of me being an SJW or anything like that, because it really isn't. You don't need to be an SJW to have a problem with this sort of stuff, because this is about, freedom of speech, and this is something that, anti-SJWs are, in support of, right? So me being somebody who is for those kinds of principles, that's the issue I'm taking with this thing. And since, someone like Trump, I'm sure, would argue the same about, censorship and stuff like that, he wouldn't be doing something like this. But again, I feel like, this is just him wanting to, I guess, one up them or something, or, something like that. I also hate how conservatives say celebrities should stay out of politics, but when a celebrity spouts off conservative dribble, they bootlick them up the wazoo, from Mindy Robinson to James Woods. Like, here's my thing about that. That was kind of one of the main crux of both my Buddy Nielsen video and my Trapped video. How, places like your banned social media and concerts and whatnot isn't exactly the best place to be, being political on really either side. Because that's something you should really, note. Because, with Buddy Nielsen, he was on the left. And with Chris Taylor Brown of Trap, he was on the right. So it's not like, it's not like there's really a bias either way. But I do agree that, everybody has a right to their opinion and should be able to express it. I just think that you should really be kind of careful of the environment or the platform that you're doing this in, and ask yourself, is this really the place? Is really where I come from on the, celebrities and artists and whatnot, talking about politics and whatnot. Ugh. Oh, but those people are too headstrong, exactly. Trump's being headstrong too, I guess. He and Chris Taylor Brown would make for really great friends, wouldn't they? Being tactful is different than being PC. Tactfulness is being mindful of the people around you. Being PC is forcing others to cater to your needs. Exactly. Did you know DuckTales 2017 featured a character with 2 dads and 1 million moms and 1 angry gamer went ballistic? Anti-SJWs are the new SJWs. They can be. I'm not sure I'd go that far. But I wouldn't exactly say that those are anti-SJWs. Those are more so, well, technically they are, but I'd say they're more so kind of right-wing conspiratards. Kind of getting bent out of shape. It's just like that, what happened with the Mr. Ratburn Arthur gay wedding from, I forget if that was last year or the year before. I think that was last year. And people were freaking out about that. And it's like, hey, they could have been a lot more, out there about how they went about that whole thing. It's really not a big deal. And at the very least, kind of, exposes kids to the idea that, yeah, you can fall in love with and marry someone of the same sex, and it's a totally normal thing. So, yeah. To me, Chris Taylor Brown is the Madonna of rock. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really pay attention to Madonna. But yeah. This is a tale of egos and fragility and abuse of power, and that is a problem with people like this. And I'm glad you guys are pretty much, following along with this whole thing. Because, yeah. Because when I saw this, I was like, fucking wow. Yeah. As much as, I don't like Twitter and whatnot, I wouldn't want it to get, taken away and shut down or anything like that. Because if people want to use it, they should be able to. Just like with, anything and whatnot. Your opinion on Christina Aguilera? Sorry. Wow, I skipped a person in the chat. Honestly, I'm cool with Mr. Ratburn being with his husband, and yeah, I'm aware he's fictional. Yeah. I mean, I guess he was kind of eccentric throughout the show, and maybe one could make the argument that he was gay, so it's really not much of a surprise. It's not like it's the kind of shit that was like pulled out of its ass or anything like that. Your opinion on Christina Aguilera? To me, amazed how her voice is still strong, and I've heard she's a nice person. Meanwhile, Madonna, total pastor time bitch. Christina Aguilera is okay. There's really only one song that I like from her, and that would be Beautiful. Like, I adore that chord progression. It always makes me wonder why parents are so against even making their children aware of the LGBTQ+. Yeah, like, I do think kids should be taught about this kind of stuff. Where I draw the line with that, though, is, like, you know, drag shows and, you know, doing shit like that, especially in schools and whatnot. But I do agree that, you know, educating kids about, you know, being LGBT and whatnot, you know, is a healthy thing, because it not so much because it gets people to think, hey, what if I'm gay? What if I'm trans? But rather it gets them to think, hey, this is a normal thing. And if somebody, you know, is gay or whatever, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, be a douche about that. I'm not gonna say that they're going to hell or anything, or that the way they live their life is wrong, because who's to say the way I live my life is right or wrong and whatnot. I say he's the Madonna of rock because he's an insufferable diva. Opinion on Yngwie Malmsteen. Good guitarist, though his licks can be kind of repetitive. I do recognize that he's a very good musician and a huge innovator of neoclassical metal. I saw him live in 2017. He was pretty cool to see. But yeah, love his first 4 albums. The next 2 albums, Eclipse and Fire and Ice, I also think those are pretty good. But Rising Force, Marching Out, Trilogy, and Odyssey, that's my bread and butter with him. And he's entirely washed up. Yes, that too. Gay people are people just like you and me. They just love the same sex, and there's nothing wrong with that. You do you, boo-boo, as long as it's with a consenting adult. Yes, that's important too. Like, you know, I'm not sure if you guys follow some of the other folks in the ranting community, but there's a person that some of the people, the likes of Damien Skyfire, Gage the Doom Guy, Kaz Warfox, and a few others, have been dealing with this guy by the name of Stetson Hardwick, who is a pedophilia advocate, who, one of his arguments is that, you know, and it's not even just him that does this, you know, the people that argue that, you know, pedophilia or what's the fucking term they use, pedosexuality, should be added to the LGBT, because if people can be okay with people of the same sex loving each other and being able to get married, then I should be able to do the same thing if I happen to like somebody of the same sex that happens to be a minor. And it's like, no, that's fucking dumb. Because they can't fucking consent, you dumbass. Did you know Linda Perry, the writer and producer of Christina Aguilera's Beautiful, was the lead singer of Four Non Blondes? No, I didn't know that. The ladies who sang the He-Man What's Going On song. I did know that. The Hey Yeah 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 song. Oh god, the fish. Yes, the fish. I'll tell you guys a little more about him just so you guys are aware of how much of a fucking monster this kid is. And I call him a kid because that's what he acts like. He thinks that age doesn't exist. He thinks rape doesn't exist. He thinks consent doesn't exist. That's his justification for all of his fucked up beliefs, is that, oh, this doesn't exist because I say so. Because there aren't any, like, intergalactic laws that have these things in place. So, you know, why should, you know, we have to play by different rules if those rules don't exist on other planets or whatever? That's my recollection of what he said in the first debate that he had with Thrash Metal Guru, because I was a witness for that. I was recording the thing for Justin. But yeah, he is fucking awful, Stetson. I do kind of view him as a lost cause, along with a lot of the other, people in that pedo community that, those guys have been dealing with and whatnot. But, the fact that they exist and their justifications and whatnot, it's ridiculous. And Daniel Romanos, Facebook's with a copy of Atlas Shrugged. Guten Tag. Hey, Felix. What's up, my boy? But yeah, people are fucking weird. But to get back on point, because we kind of ventured off into, pedo apologists and whatnot, they're not part of the LGBT. They will never be part of the LGBT. The LGBT does not want them. And how I know this is because there are LGBT people that I know that say that they aren't wanted. And I'll sooner believe them than anybody saying, we're part of the LGBT because we're oppressed and whatnot. And it's like, no, you're not oppressed. The law is just set up to protect children from fucks like you. I said, hey, yeah. My eggplant emojis don't appear in the chat. Wow, that's weird. I have no idea why that is. I don't know if that's got to be a YouTube thing. I have no idea. Because I don't think I have anything set up to filter those or anything like that. Also, those pedo advocates gave James Woods more ammo for his homophobia, as he's using it to say, see, these guys are degenerates. It's not even just him, but a lot of, conservatives, they're the kind of people that will use those as be like, see, the LGBT is, they're apologists for pedophiles and child abusers and whatnot. So they're all degenerates and whatnot. It's like, no. Look around. The majority of people, the vast majority of people in the LGBT community, they don't want these people. They want these people to fuck off. They want them to fucking go die, just like everybody else does. I'm bi and I want nothing to do with pedos. Yeah. Even if I was gay, I wouldn't want anything to do with them regardless. Who do you want to punch in the face more and why? Ted Nugent or Morrissey? Morrissey. Because Ted Nugent, I at least think he has some alright music. I've never been a fan of the Smiths, and Morrissey, just kind of going along with that, he freaking compares eating meat to pedophilia, and it's like, really? Really? That is really stretchy, and it's like, it's fine if you don't want to eat meat, but comparing it to pedophilia, like, that's ridiculous. Steve, I forget his last name, he's the same dude, who's like, women shouldn't work, Yeah, some people are very delusional, and some people are very insensitive as well, which angers me. Yeah. That's a problem I have with a lot of people in the world. And that's something I try to, take a step back from and try not to sort of, or actually keep myself from falling into any of those traps. And that's something I think a lot of people should do, is try to make sure that they don't fall into any, traps like this. Just saw your Facebook, no love lost for UTF. That's another thing that happened. He deleted his channel. Found this out from a friend who, this friend being Athena the guitarist, she was, I think, going to his channel to try to find something and found that his channel was gone. And let me show you this. Let me frickin' go to my YouTube tab and go to the webpage scene. And I am going to show you user/undertakerfreak1127/videos, whatever. This is what comes up. So, okay. So that's a thing that happened. And I'm not sure it's something that can be undone. The only thing he would have to do would be to create a new channel and whatnot. And if he does do that, then, we'll just add that to the fucking record of shit that he never was consistent on. But his channel is gone, so I think he's fucked off now. And so at this point, it looks like Merry Dansmas 2 is going to be happening. I have edited that script and have that on the back burner. I'm keeping it in my back pocket for the next, how many more months? June, July, August, September. For the next 7 months. And if I haven't heard a peep from him or anything like that, or no one else has said anything about him, then that is going to be a thing that you can expect come November. So that's all I think I'm going to say for now about that. I think Morrissey is either bipolar like Kanye, or he's just became a glutton of the fame and became an egomaniac. Could be. Ugh, not Bentic. I mean, my mom absolutely loves Morrissey, but yeah, personally, he is pretty ridiculous from what I heard. Yeah, and, I suppose you could say that's how I feel about, Ted Nugent, since who was it? It was West Coast Emerald Bull that was asking, who I think is more insufferable between him and Morrissey. And I remember making this point in my very needlessly long title about the set. But you know which video I'm talking about, the separating the art from the artist video. How, it is possible to, like somebody's music and not agree with what they say or not like something about them personally. Merry Dansmas 2 is definitely happening now. Yep, it is. At this point in time, it is. If he creates a new channel or does something else, then I'll, cancel it again. Morrissey is textbook definition of pretentious, exactly. I actually like the songs of the Smiths, honestly. Then again, I also like Cake, as in the food and the band. They're another band I could never really get into. All celebration time. Celebrate good times. Come on. I don't understand people who don't like Cake the food. Maybe they're diabetic. Maybe they're lactose intolerant. That's the only reasonable explanation I can think of. Also, wasn't the singer of Oasis a total jackass? Both of the Gallaghers, I think, are kind of jackasses and whatnot. Not just Liam, but Noel as well. And they've always been at each other's throats and whatnot. But yeah, that's another thing. Another example of musicians that I think are kind of assholes. Shut up. I am Firehouse Subs. Eat at Firehouse now, assholes. Oh my god. I'll say this. Firehouse the band, nah. Firehouse Subs. Yeah, I heard there was a lot of beef between many people and Undertaker Freak 1127, but yeah, hopefully he's gone. Well, he is gone. I just hope he stays gone. Because no one wants him. Literally, the only people that do want him are just his small little cult of people that still, hang on and whatnot. Which is really a small 1,000 people compared to the fucking 44, I think, K people that subscribe to him. On to movies. Aside from being a garbage actor, Rob Schneider is also a jerk IRL, from spouting off anti-vax garbage, being a right-wing loony and a jerkish tool. Okay. That doesn't sound too surprising. But yeah, the only Rob Schneider movie that I really like at all is The Benchwarmers. To quote Kiss, get the Firehouse. Yeah, and I think that's actually where Firehouse got their name. They named it after the Kiss song. But yeah, I think now this is just gonna turn into a little Q&A for a little while. Now that I think we're done talking about that little executive order thing from Trump that hopefully this is the last we hear from that, and like I was saying before, it doesn't go any further, because I really don't think it can. But yeah. I'll check these fucking VMs later. Yeah, horrible idea and it will not work. Exactly. Like, I'm sure even Trump's most diehard supporters will probably be like, yeah, this is too far. When it comes to pop music, I feel bad for Mandy Moore, as her voice is more natural than Britney Spears was, but was overshadowed by the latter. At least her acting career is great. Sweet, I killed a fucking fly. Opinion on Talking Heads. They're okay. They have some pretty nice songs. Take Me to the River is one that comes to mind. Nothing But Flowers. Mr. Jones. This Must Be the Place. Number of others. I think they're an alright new wave act. My dad's huge into them. I'm obviously not as into them as he is, but they're not bad. I suppose another thing I could talk about, that I'm sure you probably also have heard enough about at this point, but, you know, it's on my mind, sort of, and that would be the H3H3 Keemstar drama and whatnot that's been, you know, getting a lot of publicity. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. I'm just going to put this out there, because if you guys remember the stream I did talking about the iDubbbz thing a couple months ago, which, by the way, who called that? That thing came and went, and to quote Razorfist, "Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right." But if you remember that, I mentioned that I've always thoroughly loathed Keemstar, and thus I didn't really take any total objection with H3H3's videos. The only real issues I had were, one, how 90% of the content Nuke, the first video that Ethan put out, was stuff that I already knew, and I'm sure most people already knew about Keemstar. Not a whole lot of it was like new and whatnot. I'd heard about the false pedo accusation. I'd heard about the exploiting Etika. I'd heard about all that. The only new thing was the thing that, you know, Ethan would end up, you know, showing that video call that he had that, you know, proved that thing wrong about, you know, the money and whatnot. The other issue, obviously, is the going after sponsors thing, which, the issue that I have with that, and I mean this with no disrespect, because I am still a fan of H3H3. I still enjoy their videos, but my hope with that is that that doesn't end up setting an unfair precedent for, you know, for YouTube or really the internet in general or anything like that, because funny enough, this is also kind of something I talked about in the Don't Like, Don't Watch Can Be Valid video, because one of the things that inspired that video was the mass deplatforming of Alex Jones. And with things like that, there's the possibility that people are going to get the idea that, hey, this works. We can do this and take down whoever we want and whatnot. And, you know, Ethan, I guess, kind of learned that the hard way, because what ended up happening was after, G Fuel, Keemstar's sponsor, dropped him, people retaliated. I don't think it was Keem himself that retaliated, but there was a retaliation, and H3H3 got dropped from Old Spice. So it can happen to you too. It can happen to really anybody, and that's the thing that I don't like about this, and why I don't want this to be a thing that we start seeing more often is, I don't like you. I don't like the fact that you're making money, so I'm going to fucking hit you where it hurts. I'm going to hit you in your fucking wallet and go after your sponsor. That's what I don't like about this ordeal. Other than that, my opinion on Keemstar kind of remains the same, but those are the only things that I really didn't like about this whole thing. And hopefully that's done now. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we're not going to see more videos from Ethan on this whole thing. I think 3 is enough. There really shouldn't be more. Now I'll catch up with the chat. Have you gotten around to watching American Dad and Bob's Burgers? I've watched a couple episodes of American Dad in college before. I thought it was all right. I haven't really given a full binge yet. Same with Bob's Burgers. Do you think there should be a Down the Rabbit Hole on Aaron Carter? I still need to check out his content. I've been really reluctant to do that, mostly because I know his videos are quite long. And I'm in the middle of binging currently something else. So I'll do that whenever I'm done with my current binge and I have time on my hands. To me, he deserves one. He's a poster child of a failed child star, pretty much. Like, I remember, I think this was like in 2012. I remember back when I was getting emails from a venue that I had seen a concert at, the venue that I saw Lynch Mob at, Showcase Live, small little club and whatnot. I got an email from them saying that Aaron Carter was going to be playing a show there. And I'm like, wow. You go from this huge fucking kid star, you're older now, and now you're playing at a small little club like this. Damn. That's kind of sad. And now you hear about him kind of going crazy and whatnot. So, have you heard about the Christian rock singer in the news lately? No. If you'd have to give a name, since I don't think I've been hearing anything about that. But yeah, I personally also think the tabloid people are absolutely ridiculous. Like, literally, why would some people want to become disabled on purpose? From what I heard on Official GATG's video, yeah. Transabled, that's a thing too. Funny enough, the shit about Morrissey, that was also something Official GATG made a video about. So, yeah, shout out to him. He's my boy. Keemstar's an idiot, and I haven't seen any of H3H3's content, so yeah, there's my wooden nickel. I suppose Ethan's videos are at least worth a watch, at least the first one. But yeah. On another note, heard of the Raspberry Pi? It's a tiny $35 computer that you can use for lots of things, from home theater to video games to programming. Really? Sounds like something. It sort of sounds like what some people use iPads as. But no, I have not heard about that. But yeah. Suppose I can actually close that tab now. How's it going? It's going okay. Working on a script for a What's Wrong With. And that's going okay. I'm in sort of the the air tightening phase, as I call it, which is basically the phase where I'm continually rereading it and seeing if I need to reword something or elaborate on something or add something in and whatnot, and also, do some practice reads of it. Not sure when I'm going to get around to filming. I'd like to try and see if I can actually get a haircut before I do that, because that would be nice. Because I talked about this earlier in the stream, but this week, hair salons are actually reopening. And me getting an answer to that call that I made this morning is kind of evident of that, and that makes me really, really happy. So I'd like to see if I could try to do that first. Otherwise, I'm not sure when I'm going to film this. Probably next week, I want to say. As for music, what is your worst instrument? Well, I'm sure you mean to say the worst instrument that I know how to play, because there are a lot of instruments that I don't know how to play, as much as I wish I could. That's one thing I really envy about Rob Scallon, is that he pretty much knows, and Leo Maracchioli too, the both of them, they basically know how to play every fucking instrument. I've always been really jealous of people like that, but my go-to answer for the instrument that I can play that I suck at, that would be piano. I really resented having to take classes for that in college, that it was required for all music majors. I always really, really resented that. I just don't really have the coordination for it, because it's different than guitar, and I hate it. What are some of your favorite supergroups? That is the topic of a countdown. A topic of 2 countdowns, actually, because I do have the idea for the lists ready, and when I was going over them, I'm planning on doing 2 countdown videos, one about metal supergroups and one about non-metal supergroups. So I'm not really going to spoil anything here. I'm sure you can probably guess who might be on either of those lists, but I'm not going to spoil them here. Any one-hit wonders you felt had lost potential? Lost potential. Well, I'm sure any of the bands I talked about in the one-hit wonder, quote-unquote, bands video, I guess you could argue, didn't really meet their full potential that I'd like to think they had. So any of those would do. Opinion on Depeche Mode. Pretty much the same as my opinion on Talking Heads. Alright band, have some alright material. They're one of a few new wave artists that I actually, legitimately, enjoy more than just the main hits and whatnot. Heard of the Hurdy-Gurdy, silly name but a beautiful sound. Funny I mentioned Rob Scallon because I know he's done a video about the Hurdy-Gurdy. So yeah. Speaking of supergroups, any song from Chickenfoot you like? My favorite song of theirs is fuck. I always forget this name. I know it's like the last track on the first album. Future is the Past. That's my favorite song of theirs. I really wish they could reunite because I thoroughly enjoyed them. Any songs that are seemingly hated by all the artist's fans that you yourself enjoy listening to? Example, My World by Guns N' Roses. I'm not sure anything's really coming to mind for that. Linkin Park or Simple Plan? Yes. Simple Plan, I like their first 2 albums. They were some of the first things I remember getting into when I was beginning my musical exploration. I still, have a soft spot for those albums and whatnot. I know People make fun of them a lot. But yeah, and Linkin Park, with them, I like Hybrid Theory and Meteora. About half of Minutes to Midnight and Hunting Party I also think was good. I'm not as into Linkin Park as most other people are. They were never a band that was really my thing, but I do think they had some good music. They're just never they've just never been a band that I was like, in love with or anything like that, like I know a lot of people are. Any albums you enjoy that most people loathe? I know there are definitely things that fit in with that criteria. One that comes to mind, actually, and I recalled this
Mm-hmm.
after watching Rock's recent video, his video about good songs from bad albums. He featured a song from Kiss's album Crazy Nights. I actually think that's a good, hard rock glam album. I don't think it's a bad album at all. So that's one album that comes to mind that a lot of people like to hate that I actually think is pretty good. I suppose you could throw Pablo Honey from Radiohead in there too. I'm sure there's definitely others. But I wonder though, although not really related to what your least favorite school subject. I had two. It was always a toss up between math and science. I always loathed math, and you know, bio was actually an okay class. I remember having a really nice teacher for that. But everything else with science, it was not the easiest to comprehend. Do your milkshakes bring all the girls to the yard? I don't have any milkshakes, so. Heard of Mr. Medicare? Yes, I have heard of him. I've tried getting into him a number of times, but I actually just can't get into him. I've tried, but something about him kind of rubs me weird. Maybe it's the sort of snarky tone in his voice that always kind of rubs off like, he's talking down and whatnot. But yeah, tried getting into him and couldn't. Faith No More or Mr. Bungle? Mr. Bungle. Faith No More is alright. Mr. Bungle, though, is the much more interesting of the two. Crazy Nights is awesome, but I get why people don't like it. Yeah, like for a hard rock, for an 80s rock album, for what it is, I think it's fine. Do a Boston accent. My grandmother actually has that Boston accent. And I'm going to tell you a funny childhood story. I was going to a birthday party. I forgot whose birthday this was. But when I got back, my grandmother asks, "Did you have fun at the party?" And I was just so confused. I was like, did I have fun at the potty? I guess. I suppose I have fun over at the fucking potty. I hate math, and especially don't get me started on word problems. Ooh. Yeah. I don't know if you... Well, maybe you'd probably know this if you watch, like, the Asperger's video, but I was a special needs student. For most of my school life, I had a TA in the room, mainly for the purpose of explaining things to me and making sure I pay attention and whatnot. I wasn't, like, a dumb kid or anything like that. I mean, I think I was pretty dumb a lot of the time, but, I wasn't not smart. But, those were areas that I struggled with, and so and in math and science in particular. Those are like my weakest areas, as well as, writing big papers and whatnot. I mean, nowadays it's a lot easier for me since I literally do that for videos. But yeah. Yes, that's a story that she has never let me forget. Woe Is Me or Issues? Definitely Issues. I don't think I've actually listened to Woe Is Me, but Issues, I've gone on record before, they're one of the best bands out right now. I love them. They were a blast to see live. Which, no, that's going to be what I'm going to be starting the next shirt collection video out with whenever I do that. Hey, Space Metal, what is up, dude? By the way, speaking of, Space Metal being present now, I finally got a reschedule date for the Dragon Force show. It's basically happening a pretty much full year after when it was originally announced. And the same thing actually happened with the Rage Against the Machine show. That got postponed too, a show in August. That upset me, but at least there's actually a date and whatnot. I'm still waiting for that Symphony X show to have a rescheduled date, though I'm guessing it's probably going to be a full year later as well. Tasted Clamato, tastes horrible. I have not tasted that. My favorite Korn album, probably Self-Titled. Opinion on 6ix9ine. Don't like his music. Think he is a douche. That's really the best I can really say about him. I bet Shays' raged like Hades when his shows were delayed. Please keep that as your profile picture, because that is a very good profile picture. But yeah, internally that's how I sort of felt. What's your favorite XTC song? Good question. I would say probably what Pawn Hearts is saying in their Senses Working Overtime. Speaking of space metal, though neither are metal, Angels and Airwaves, Muse, or Rush, I think you know what the answer to that is. Who was the band that was number one in my favorite instrumentals video? Who was a band I've spoken very highly of for the longest time? Rush. Favorite Ja Rule song? I don't listen to Ja Rule. Though, what I will say about Ja Rule is his birthday is on Leap Day. And that's why I've always felt really bad for him. That's why, like, every leap year, I wish him a happy birthday. And let me go to Wikipedia and see how old he is. Ja Rule. His age is 44, but 76. So 80, 84, 88, 92, 96, 1,000, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So technically he's 11 years old. If we're going by his actual birth date. Opinion on the Psychedelic Furs, never listened to them. Hades, if not for Scar, is the best villain ever. Scar is a close second of my favorite Disney villains. Hades is my first. Scar is a close second. Then my third would probably be Frollo. Then Jafar. and Ursula then after that. Have you ever watched the Tourette's guy? I am subscribed to his channel. Yes, I love Tourette's guy. In some videos, I've actually played a clip from Tourette's guy whenever I'm saying, but fuck. And I play a clip of him saying, but fuck! So yeah, I've loved Tourette's guy for a very long time. Yeah, personally, I don't like modern rap at all besides Post Malone from what I heard. There are some good modern rappers out there. You just have to sort of dig around for it and sort of, I guess, sift through various sounds that you don't like hearing to find the stuff that sounds good and whatnot. Like, I'm very particular with how I like rap to sound. So whenever I get into a modern rapper that has a sound that isn't too much of a stretch from old school stuff, I get really excited because it's very rare that that happens. That's how I got into Run the Jewels. That's how I got into Plan B. That's how I got into number of other ones, Crypt, and good bit more. It's also why, I'm able to get into Kendrick Lamar and Macklemore. Your pick. What? The Fates are here and you didn't tell me! Thoughts on Fire Festival? Don't know what that is. Do you like Childish Gambino? Yeah, I think he's okay. Not my favorite modern rapper, but, he's at least, I'm at least able to enjoy his stuff. Me on the inside. What? The concert tickets were on sale and you didn't tell me? We are worms! Worthless worms! Yes. If you didn't know already, based on the number of references I've made to this movie in Best Songs of 2019, I love Hercules very dearly. The best Tourette's guy video, in your opinion, I don't know. I can't really name them by name. There are just moments or quotes that I like from him. My favorite Tourette's guy moment would probably be... I'm laughing just thinking about the things I could say for this. One that comes to mind is he's outside the bathroom door, someone's in the shower, or not the shower, just in the bathroom, and he's like knocking on, like, wait a minute, you dick! And then his wife's like, I don't have a dick, you prick! And he's like, Shirlena. Ah, shit! That is one that comes to mind of, like, my favorite Tourette's guy moment. I also really like the Tourette's guy at the supermarket one. Where he's, like, backing up in the fucking scooter, and it's going really slow, and he's like, holy shit! Dragon Force announces delay, Shades and I. What? Okay, fine. We're cool. We're fine. Right. Thoughts on We Were Sharks, never heard of them. Who is better, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, or Whitney Houston? Whitney Houston. Celine Dion, I think, is okay. Mariah Carey, I don't really listen to. Whitney Houston, though, is my favorite of that group. Because, again, she's an artist that I actually go beyond the hits for, which is something I do with most artists that I listen to. I like, really investing into their work and not just listening to the singles, not just listening to the hits and whatnot. Obviously, I don't do that with every artist, but I like doing that with most artists. Most, if not all. Well, no, not all. You get what I'm trying to say, though. What's this Discord notif? Funny meme. Do you watch Big Time Rush? If so, what are some of your favorite moments? No. Big Time Rush was after my time, I would say. Like, when Big Time Rush was a thing, I was basically in the phase where I wasn't watching kids shows anymore because I was trying to be grown up and whatnot. And plus, I always just saw Big Time Rush as like Nickelodeon's version of the Jonas Brothers, and back then I was on my anti Jonas Brothers crusade, which I'm kind of embarrassed to say was like my first one of my first like internet memories from my old account was engaging in some anti Jonas Brothers bullshit. I don't know if you guys remember this. If you remember this, then holy fuck, you're as old as me, if not older. Fuck this hair. But there was this group that was around called the Anti-Disney Movement that I had a small association with. I think one of the members of that group. In hindsight, it was really, really cringy. Like, they were very, very anti-Jonas Brothers and Hannah Montana in particular, along with other shit like that. Your Camp Rock, your Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, all that crap. So, me being a 14-year-old at this time, this just wasn't the kind of stuff that I really wanted to watch. At this time, I was mostly watching Simpsons and Family Guy at this time, and South Park would come into the picture a little later. But yeah, that's why I was never really on board with the Big Time Rush thing and whatnot. What are those? What are those? What is your opinion on the thrash metal band Coroner? They're really, really underrated. They're pretty awesome. Before coronavirus was a thing that people were actually taking seriously, I remember making a joke. I made this meme that I posted on my Facebook page of myself with headphones on and some pictures of some Coroner albums and saying, "Oh no, I caught the Coroner virus," and whatnot. A really dumb pun, but yeah, I do like Coroner. Very, very underrated band. I don't know. I thought they looked kind of dashing. Yes, Shades' story on his Jonas Brothers crusade is not far off of my cringe-worthy Bieber Metal Militia as well. Oh my god, the Metal Militia. That was another thing from back then as well. Anti-Disney Movement and Metal Militia, those were some of the cringiest things on the internet in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Some of your favorite Family Guy cutaways? There's way too many I could name. I'm actually binging Family Guy right now because it was on my mind and whatnot. And whenever a show is on my mind, I'm like, all right, I want to binge this now. I'm sure I could get an answer just by looking at my favorites list. There's probably a Family Guy thing that I probably favorited there. Oh wow, that was a Simpsons one. I hate when I scroll through my privates list and find that somebody privated a video. That makes me kind of sad. Oh. Wow, I'm finding more Simpsons ones than Family Guy ones. Yeah, there's way too many I could name for my favorite Family Guy cutaway gags. Hades said that meme almost 20 years before it was cool. Pretty much. I got 24 hours to get rid of this bozo, or the entire scheme I've been setting up for 18 years goes up in smoke. Are you wearing his merchandise? God damn it. I love Hades so much. This is is why he's my favorite Disney villain and one of my favorite Disney characters in general. He's so excellent. Sipping drink, nervous chuckle. Thirsty? Did you see the Geico commercial with Rat? Yeah, I think I actually did see that. I think it was shared on my Facebook. And I'm like, wow. I forget which song they were playing in that. It was probably Round and Round. If not that, then something else. Then, like, maybe Back for More it might have been. Yeah, Family Guy isn't bad, but yeah, I don't binge too much on Netflix, but I was binging JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, although I don't watch much anime not too long ago. Family Guy, I have my cutoff for as well. My cutoff with Family Guy is season 7. That's when the show started not being as funny for me. And that's when I sort of hopped off because I wasn't really laughing at a lot of the newer episodes. Because me and my little brother, we used to DVR Family Guy and The Simpsons. And sort of around the same time, you know, those later seasons of both of the shows were just, I was just not having fun with them. My brother did like them, but I really wanted, you know, enough. What about the Geico commercial with Europe? I saw that as well. And it wasn't actually like an old clip or they're just playing the original recording. They actually did a new take of that. I remember seeing that as well. They were playing it a half step down, I think it was, from original. Go out there and kick some Olympian butt. Wow, is my hair out? I love how the chat is just quoting a bunch of Hercules lines. That makes me... You don't know how happy that makes me. Guys, Olympus will be that way. That's another good Hades line. Who put you down there? I'll also say this about Hercules. Zero to Hero is probably my favorite Disney song. Be Prepared is a close second. But Zero to Hero is probably my favorite. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Hades, but yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame is a Disney movie I love for sure. You'd be surprised how long it took for me to actually watch that movie. The first time that I watched Hunchback of Notre Dame was actually 2016. My parents did not show me that movie as a kid, probably because it's a lot more mature, especially for a Disney movie. But when I got around to finally watching that, I'm like, yeah, I like this a lot. You know, Frollo is an awesome villain. And Quasimodo and Esmeralda are both also very good characters. Esmeralda is one of my favorite Disney females. My third favorite, actually, after Jasmine and Meg. Have you listened to the Brad Paisley song Spaghetti Western Swing? The one Brad Paisley song that I like is I'm Still a Guy. I don't know. Most people would probably say that's misogynistic, but I just find it to be a funny song. Aren't we forgetting a teensy-weensy, ever-so crucial little tiny detail? I own you! That reminds me of something in the Danger Danger video. One thing I really was kicking myself for not doing when I was talking about Bang Bang in the Danger Danger video, when I was talking about, when I was saying, people sometimes think this one's different. I really regret not playing a clip from that scene from Hercules when, Meg is saying to Hades, he's sweet and he would never hurt me. And this is before Hades follows that up with, he's a guy. But yeah, I was kicking myself for not showing a clip or an image of that when I say that thing in the Danger Danger video. I was like, fuck, that would have worked so well there. Who is the saddest Disney death that you've seen? I'm assuming you mean the death of a character in a movie as opposed to a death of an actor that played a Disney character. Trying to think of deaths that I can name from Disney movies. One that, of course, comes to mind is Mufasa, and that, I suppose, could be what I would say. I know Bambi's mom is another one, but I haven't seen Bambi in forever, and there's not a whole lot I really remember about Bambi. I know a lot of kids, when their parents show them that movie, they stop the tape when they get to the part where they kill his mom. But I don't know. The one sad thing that actually did kind of borderline bring me to tears would be in The Fox and the Hound when Todd gets dropped off in the wild and is left there. I'm like, oh, after all that time you spent together and you're letting him go. No. And the Goodbye song starts playing in the background. That did almost kind of make me cry. He's going to kill us when he's going to kill us when he comes back. You mean if he comes back. If is good. Yes. The only schmeal that could louse it up is waltzing around in the woods. Hey, Chelsea. Anyways, Disney sugarcoats Disney princesses, but the Disney princesses have darker stories, right? Like the original Little Mermaid story ends with, I think, Ariel getting her tongue cut off, I think. Yeah, a young Kurt Russell plays Todd. And Corey Feldman, I think, played the young Copper. Whoops, yeah, Russell played Copper, not Todd. So it was Corey Feldman that played Todd. Ariel yeets herself. Yeah, that's what happens in the original Little Mermaid story. Of course, they're not gonna do that in the Disney version. Um, if you're offered $1 million, would you watch the donkey transformation scene in Pinocchio for 10 hours? Probably, yeah. Because I think after enough times being subjected to that, I would desensitize myself to that. But good for you for remembering that. That's good for you for remembering that video. Mickey Rooney was taught as an adult. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember too many sad Disney deaths apart from the Lion King scene. But yeah, that's actually something I have to think about. Just for a prince and walking on land is like walking swords. That is a talking point that a lot of people say about Little Mermaid is like, oh, she gives up her voice for a man, and it's like, no, that's not just the guy. It's because she wants to experience human life and, walk on dry land and whatnot. It's really Ursula manipulating that thought into Ariel that she's doing it for Eric, when in all actuality she just wants to experience human life and whatnot, not just get with Eric. And to quote Schaeferless, ironic that the thirstiest princess lives underwater. And yes, Shrek and Frozen. Yes. It's always nice whenever I reference Schaeferless because he's become one of my favorite YouTubers. And I always freaking link that Shrek 2 video to everybody because I want everybody to fucking watch that because I love it. But it's a lot more painful for her, but she has to suffer from the Sea Witch pretty much. My favorite scene in any Disney movie is from Up when Carl gives Russell the Ellie badge. Up I have not seen all the way through. I watched like the first part of Up. A teacher actually brought it in when she didn't really feel like doing anything. And, I didn't really get around to watching the rest of the movie. Probably should sometime. So I have seen the opening scene that everybody goes on and on about how beautiful and sad it is. I have seen that, but I haven't gotten around to the rest of the movie. Yeah, I remember you made that video, and yeah, I commented on that video not too long ago how I had that experience with the giant walrus from Pingu, which is somewhat terrifying to me. My fave two Disney characters is Snow White and Cinderella. Which Willy Wonka film do you like more, the original or the Tim Burton? The original, definitely. I don't like the Tim Burton one. That's one of my least favorite movies that I've ever seen. Not the worst movie I've ever seen. I've since seen a couple much worse movies than that, but the original one is for sure the superior one, with a lot more memorable moments, definitely. You're more for the Tim Burton one, huh? Really? I don't really hear very many people talk about the Tim Burton one, unless they're talking about how inferior it is. But that's like the most I generally hear people say when talking about the Tim Burton Willy Wonka. Yeah, Tim Burton has some good movies under his belt, but for me, the Willy Wonka remake is not one of them. Willy Wonka is also dark. He's actually killing those spoiled. It's not necessarily him killing them. It's more the children falling into traps that are based on their personality traits. Like for example, fucking Augustus Gloop. He falls into the chocolate river because he was drinking the stuff and he gets himself trapped in that pipe. Same with Violet and chewing that gum that turns her into a fucking blueberry. That was her doing. She made the decision to chew the stuff before it was really done being tested and whatnot. So she got herself into that. Same with the other two. They got themselves, and that's kind of what the message that the original book and the movie are trying to get across, is that they were falling, is that their personalities, their interests and whatnot were getting them put in those situations and whatnot. Though I have, read the book, the Roald Dahl book, as a kid, and the book actually ends with the kids still being alive, but they're just, damaged and whatnot. We don't see what happens to them at the end of the movie, though. But that's sort of what the lesson there is, and that's what results. And that lesson is also sort of driven home in each of the Oompa Loompa songs. And yes, the boat ride, that's a very creepy moment. Yeah, respectable, but for me personally, I actually like both 1971 and 2005 Tim Burton as well. But yeah, 1971 is an absolute classic. But you never hear from him again, pretty much. Yeah, isn't that a theory where they all died in the original? It probably is. I'm sure somebody's probably done a theory about that. But I do remember at the end of the book, it shows them, walking out of the factory. Maybe. I mean, it could be implied that they walk out of, their situations just, damaged and all that, and it probably leads to them, changing their lives and whatnot. Like, it results in Augustus losing weight, Violet cutting her gum chewing thing, Veruca not being a spoiled brat, and fucking Mike TV watching less TV. It could, maybe that is one way to look at what probably happened at the, after the movie and whatnot. That's one way to think about it. Of course, the other possibility is that they are dead and whatnot. And Veruca's dad is dead too, because he jumped down the chute to go after her. The Tim Burton version tried to stay true to the original book. The author was so disgusted with the 1971 version that he would not allow a sequel to be made. I do remember there was a sequel book. But yeah, I don't really... Unless someone did try to make that into a movie that I don't know. I always enjoyed Burton's film. Plenty of the film's dialogue and all the lyrics in the Oompa Loompa songs were taken directly from Roald Dahl's original book in 1964. Yeah. What a fucking coincidence, Avenue Teal. I was actually watching that Family Guy episode last night. That does the parody of Willy Wonka. Take a drink and you'll sink to a state of pure inebriation. Yeah, hopefully wised up the children. Exactly. You know me. I'm the optimist and whatnot. I like to think positively that maybe in a perfect world they learned their lesson and made the necessary changes to their lives and whatnot. It's sort of something I'm kind of trying to do right now, to the best of my ability, cutting some bad habits of mine. So I like to think that people have the capabilities of doing that, even for as kind of rotten of kids as they all are. All 4 of those kids were just terrible. The film definitely gets points for staying true to the original book. IMO. Okay. Yeah. Gene Wilder's performance is another thing that really just cannot be topped. Like, I like Johnny Depp, but Gene Wilder's performance is, for me, tops. And that's not even my favorite of Gene Wilder's movies. I always liked Young Frankenstein more than Willy Wonka. The Glass Elevator was the sequel book. Yeah, I do remember that. I don't know if that was ever made into a movie. Yeah, you have mentioned the band Veruca Salt and whatnot. Of course, that's where they got their name from. When I was a kid, I was basically Mike TV because my name is Mike and I watched a lot of TV. Young Frankenstein is awesome. And it's that movie that gave me such an appreciation for the song Puttin' on the Ritz. If you're blue and you don't know what to do, why don't you go where fashion sits? Puttin' on the Ritz. Yeah, I also have my fair share of bad habits. I've done some very stupid things. Heck, I could have went to jail 2.5 months ago, but that's a story for another day. Ooh. Trivia. Jack Albertson, the actor for Grandpa Joe in the 1971 film, also was the voice of Amos Slade in The Fox and the Hound. Wow, holy crap. That's another thing that people like to make fun of a lot. How, you have these two sets of grandparents sitting across from each other in one bed. They never move. And then all of a sudden, when Charlie gets a golden ticket, fucking Grandpa Joe just gets up and starts being able to actually walk and whatnot. And it's like, fuck you, man. If they did censor a cuss word in Veruca Salt music video, it's Shutterbug. I mean, what the fuck? I don't know. I've never listened to the band Veruca Salt before. I just know they exist. Which version of movies by AFF do you prefer? I do have a friend that's very into Alien Ant Farm. And I know that there are like 2 versions of the music video for that. I do know of that, but I don't really have an opinion on that. Yeah, that makes no sense. And yeah, Charlie Bucket's family do seem rather lazy. It's more so like, hey, you never moved for however many years, and now, because you're going to a chocolate factory, now you all of a sudden can walk. It's kind of like when people shit on Stuart Little and whatnot because, there are orphan children that would like to be, taken into a home, and the fucking family takes a fucking mouse home. And it's like, fuck you. Have you watched Spirited Away or any other Studio Ghibli films? Yes, I have seen Spirited Away. It's one of the few animes that I have seen. I saw it in theaters as a kid, and you can only imagine how that must have probably been. Uh, it was a very scary experience for me as a young child. I thought the film was good. It's been a while since I've watched it, though. But it is, something I respect and whatnot. What's your take on Mulan? Good movie. Watched it not too long ago, a few nights ago, because it had been such a long time since I watched it. I like the characters there. I'll Make a Man Out of You is an excellent, excellent song. The other songs, they're not bad. I just don't think they really stack up well against I'll Make a Man Out of You. The only other problem that I have with the movie is the villain doesn't really have a whole lot of screen time. And thus I don't really like him as much as a villain. I like his voice, though. And he looks really menacing and creepy and whatnot. But yeah, overall, good movie. The more I hear about the remake, though, the more pointless I just think it sounds. It's like, why are you doing this at this point? I mean, yeah, I can be lazy and I'm pretty chubby myself, but hey, at least I can walk easily. I'm trying to lose weight, but maintaining motivation is so difficult. I'm right there with you. I don't think I'm fat per se, but I would like to lose weight somehow. Eddie Murphy really knocks it out of the park. I thought his performance was okay. But and this is actually something that I know Schaeferless has also said, but his voice with Mushu is almost too similar to his voice with Donkey in the Shrek movies. So it's kind of a weird tonal shift and whatnot, but other than that, I liked him. He's a funny character. What bands other than Dragon Force and the bands you mentioned in your WWW video that you got into from Guitar Hero? There are way too many bands I could mention for this. Almost any older band that I'm into because of Guitar Hero. Well, not because of Guitar Hero per se, but my exposure to them came through Guitar Hero, liking the song that was in the game, and then just, going off from there. Slipknot actually would be an example of that, actually. They had Before I Forget in Guitar Hero 3, and I'm like, this song is cool. Like, I love this verse riff. Love that. And I thought the chorus was pretty catchy and whatnot. Yeah, lots of bands I could name for that. Almost to the point where if this were like 10 years ago, people would be throwing the poser card at me and whatnot. But, way too many. I totally agree. Whenever I listen to Mushu, I always hear Donkey. Right? I got into so many bands thanks to Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Yeah, some really prominent ones. Like the What's Wrong With that I'm working on is actually going to involve me talking about the very early years of my music listening journey. And I don't really talk about Guitar Hero there, but it really kind of, takes you back to what exactly I listened to at age like 10, 11, and whatnot. Because prior to that, the most music I really listened to is whatever would play on the radio station I would set my alarm to play, and, if my parents had the radio on in the car and whatnot. And there were songs I liked, but not necessarily bands, other than the Beatles album that my mom used to play in the car. That was my first CD that I mentioned in the What's Wrong With on the Beatles. But this is all stuff that I'm going to elaborate more on in the video that I'm working on. Stomach's kind of rumbling. I should probably cut the stream soon. I'll probably hang for a few more minutes, because then I'll have been streaming for like 2 hours. Yeah, Slipknot is actually a great band despite what elitists say, but yeah, personally I never played Guitar Hero. One thing that I am wanting to try at some point, I saw both Andrew Baena and The Do use this thing called Clone Hero, which is basically, you know, Guitar Hero for computers. I just need to order a controller for that. I would really like to try that out. Maybe I'll do live streams with that once I can get that working. Yeah. Slipknot are very good. And definitely, you know, as their career progressed, you know, this is something I remember Finn McKenty talking about, how as time went on, more people were like warming up to Slipknot and their music was, you know, improving and all that. And people softened, you know, what they always used to think about Slipknot and whatnot. And I see the same thing happen with Avenged Sevenfold, actually. It's always really interesting. You're supposed to say, I have the right to remain silent. Donkey, you have the right to remain silent. What you lack is the capacity. What's the stupidest meme you've seen lately? I don't know. I don't have much of a memory for bad memes. The Donnas Take It Off. Yeah, that's the one song I know from them that was in Guitar Hero 1. It's an alright song. Not really my favorite. Thunderkiss 65 and by White Zombie and Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand. Those are also in that game. I downloaded Clone Hero for my computer. Wireless guitars actually work on my laptop. Wireless. You mean like, fuck, we might not even have this anymore. We used to have this, this controller that was compatible for both Guitar Hero and Rock Band. I'm not sure we still have it, though, because the last time that my brother and I played Guitar Hero together, we had to order a new controller online. So I will probably have to order a USB thing. If you have wireless guitar, you should be good. That's how I got introduced to those bands as well. Again, any band you can think of other than like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and the band that's going to be the subject of the next What's Wrong With, you can thank Guitar Hero for how I got introduced to them. The video games I grew up with are Super Mario Galaxy 1, 2, and of course Legend of Zelda. Not games I'm familiar with because I'm not a gamer. For White Zombie, it was Black Sunshine. That was in Guitar Hero 3. I don't really like that song as much as Thunderkiss 65, but, you know, it's good. Get Ready to Rock as a hand destroyer on said game. If anybody knows Freeze Pop, God bless you. They are another very underrated band that got their exposure through Guitar Hero. The same could be said about the song that they had in Guitar Hero 2, Less Talk More Rock. That has some pretty fast parts. That's pretty all over the place. If you only have PS2 guitars, you might be fucked. That's why I need to order a USB controller or a wireless controller. I doubt you've seen his videos, but I'll ask anyway. Have you watched any of Dan Bell's videos? No, haven't. I've mentioned in my videos a number of other bands that, you know, got their exposure through through having their music in Guitar Hero. Some that come to mind include Drizzt and Anarchy Club and Endless Sporadic, Honest Bob and the Factory to Dealer Incentives, aka the band with the longest name in my iTunes. Freeze Pop, again. And there's some big bands that had, you know, songs featured as bonus tracks. I remember Black Label Society had a song as a bonus track in Guitar Hero 1, and in Guitar Hero 2 you had All That Remains and Shadows Fall and Buckethead. Etc. Did you ever attempt Jordan on Guitar Hero 2? 5 stars and 88%. Wow. Probably, but probably did not do as well. But yeah, 6 by All That Remains, that was another one of the hardest songs I remember playing on Expert. On 2. Bang Camaro, that's another one. Oh my god. Yes, them too. Valiant Thor is another one too. I played Jordan once at a friend's house and managed to get 4 stars. Sadly, I don't own Guitar Hero 2, so I can never practice to try to get 5 stars. But yeah, what would you say is by far the worst or most douchiest musician ever? For me, at least from what I heard, it's definitely Dobby Vanity. Well, Dobby Vanity, he's not just a douchebag, he's a pedo. Or the guy who tried to rape the infant, Ian Watkins, you mean? Well, those are just scumbags. For me, there's a difference between a douchebag and a scumbag. You can be a douchebag without necessarily being a scumbag. Those two are definitely like the biggest scumbags in music I can think of. The biggest douche in music would probably be Gene Simmons. Even though you aren't a gamer, it's interesting to use the Temple Theme remix from Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah, that was the background music in the Why I Hate the Rock is Dead argument video. Yeah, that's a game that my brother played. I never really played it myself. I mean, I tried to play it with him as Kirby, and I wouldn't say I was really all that exceptional, but he would always play in that venue, and I really, really, really liked the music there. Same with the Ice Climbers music. 6 is a nightmare to ever remotely get 5 stars. Yes. Guitar Hero added spiderwebs. Yeah, that was... What game was that in? Was that in 4? Or a different game? 5! Wow, not even 4. 5. A game that I think my mom got for me, but I never sat down to play it. Strong Bad, Homestar Runner, X got exposure by Guitar Hero 2, them too. Though I'm sure Homestar Runner had its audience that existed before Guitar Hero. But yeah, that was my exposure. Was by Mother Flippin' Trogdor. Guitar Hero World Tour, so it was 4. Wow. So I was right, actually. Ex-Girlfriend, my no doubt, was in Guitar Hero 5. Have you ever played the arcade version? No. We owned the first 5. I played 4, thought it had a good soundtrack, but it wasn't really something I went back to. 5 I had, but I never actually got around to playing it. For me, 1, 2, and Rock the 80s, those are my bread and butter. 3 I like, just not as much as those other ones. Yeah, understandable, but I also hate the Metal Elitist you explained earlier in the Mocking Death video. Yeah, along with basically every other, video in that series. GH5 had a mess set list. Let me look at it. Let me first go back to this scene. List of songs in Guitar Hero 5. What did they have? Main set list. Let's order this by artist. Kryptonite by Three Doors Down. I like that song. Medicate by AFI. All right. This is from a later album. Arctic Monkeys. Not bad. I've never really been the hugest into Arctic Monkeys. Attack Attack. Never heard of Band of Horses. Gratitude by Beastie Boys. From Check Your Head. Beck. Not really a song I'm all that familiar with from Beck, but he's a good artist. Dancing with Myself by Billy Idol. That's a fun one. Lonely is the Night by Billy Squier. This was already in Rock the 80s. The Rock Show by Blink-182. One of my favorites of theirs. Song 2 by Blur. Of course. All Along the Watchtower. The Bob Dylan one. Not even the Jimi Hendrix one. The superior one. The original from Bob Dylan. You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi. Okay. Ooh, brand new. Nice. 6 Days a Week by The Bronx. A hardcore band I wish more people knew about. Bush. Children of Bodom. Of course, they're my favorite death metal band. In My Place by Coldplay. Never really been the hugest on Coldplay. Darker My Love I always thought was boring. Darkest Hour. Fame by David Bowie. Woman from Tokyo by Deep Purple. Cool. Derek Trucks Band. Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. One of my favorite songs ever. Send a Little Love Token by... Never heard of the Duke Spirit. Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran. Of course, we can't go wrong with that. Eagles of Death Metal. Never liked them. Elliott Smith I've never heard of. Saturday Night All Rights for Fight. Saturday Night All Rights for Fighting. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting by Elton John. Great song of his. Face to Face, a band that I got into last year. Only Happy When It Rains by Garbage. Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. Government Mule, they're okay. We're an American Band by Grand Funk Railroad. Lust for Life by Iggy Pop. 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden, nice. Oh, my favorite Jeff Beck song, Scatterbrain. Bleed American by Jimmy Eat World. Hurts So Good by John Mellencamp. Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Never Miss a Beat by Kaiser Chiefs, my favorite song of theirs. All the Pretty Faces by The Killers. 21st Century Schizoid Man by King Crimson, nice. Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon, a song that was very popular at the time. Shout It Out Loud by Kiss. Lovin' Rockets. Sweating Bullets by Megadeth, sweet. Looks That Kill by Motley Crue, my favorite song of theirs. Plug-in Baby by Muse. One Big Holiday by My Morning Jacket. Never really got into them. Nirvana. You know how I feel about Nirvana. They have Lithium and Smells Like Teen Spirit. Ex-Girlfriend by No Doubt. Judith by Perfect Circle. Do You Feel Like We Do by Peter Frampton. That's a very good live cut. Very long one, though. So Lonely by The Police. Bring the Noise 20XX. Public Enemy featuring Zakk Wylde. Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. Queens of the Stone Age, cool. Steady As She Goes by Raconteurs. Du Hast by Rammstein. Sympathy for the Devil by Rolling Stones. Never heard of Rose Hill Drive. Spirit of Radio, sweet. Don't think I know this song from Santana. Scars on Broadway, They Say. Probably the band that Darren should be focusing on now if System of a Down isn't going to fucking do anything. Nearly Lost You by Screaming Trees. Bullet with Butterfly Wings by Smashing Pumpkins. Sonic Youth. Space Hog. Superstition by Stevie Wonder. What I Got by Sublime. Cool. Sunny Day Real Estate. Nice. The Sword. 20th Century Boy by T-Rex. Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy. Cool. Deadbolt by Thrice. Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty. An American Girl. TV on the Radio. A-Punk by Vampire Weekend. Not bad. Why Bother by Weezer. That's a pretty good one. White Stripes, never really cared for them. Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry. And Background by Wolfmother. Yeah, some good songs, but a lot that I'm sure most people probably aren't familiar with. Anyway, I gotta catch up with the chat, boy. I appreciate Rock Band putting in whole celebrity skin. Don't bash me, please. Ugh. Trogdor is absolutely impossible to FC unless you have your TV settings to PAL. Funny how you mentioned used Kirby in the game. He was always considered a bottom tier character in the game on competitive level. He was the only one I really knew how to play. GH1 had a good set list, but I hate the engine. The graphics were also subpar, but yeah, the set list I always very much liked. 2 Minutes to Midnight was a great one. Demons by Darkest Hour. What would you say is the most overrated metal band in your opinion? Probably Iron Maiden. Not even just in terms of like music, in terms of like musicality. They're just the band that I think the metal community sucks the dick of way too much. I forgot about Sultans of Swing. Awesome song. I love that song very, very much. Duran Duran is a good new wave band too. I love Iron Maiden. If you couldn't tell, they're my favorite band. Cool. They were the first band that I ever saw live, and Space Metal was actually at that show too, if you can believe it. I know a lot of people claim Dragon Force was the most hardest song. It very well could be. I don't know. I got to see Maiden for the first time back in September. Ooh. I like Space Hog. They're another kind of one-hit wonder band. Ah, yes. Why bother? One of my favorites for sure. I didn't like the GH1 either. Yeah, seen Maiden last summer, 2019. Easily one of the best things ever. I wouldn't mind seeing them live again one day. If only because it's been like over a decade since I saw them the first time. And I was still kind of new to them at the time. And now I'm a lot more familiar with their catalog than I was at age 14. Hopos are fucking terrible on the first Guitar Hero. Yep, Iron Maiden was my second concert in my life ever. Yeah. I was shocked that you were actually at that show. I should go back to main window. It was. You basically have to strum them. Yeah. Yeah. I try to respect people's band tastes, not be elitist about it. Yeah, that's how you do it. That is how you do it. Like, I'm cool with people liking, like, bands that I'm not really into. I just don't like, I would just not like to have it, like, shoved in my face and whatnot. Or be told that your opinion is wrong, or something like that. But yeah, Maiden is an overrated band along with Slayer. Them too, yeah. And a lot of Slayer fans are very obnoxious. Yes, they are. That's one of the only problems I have with J-Hoff films. I like their channel, but I think they really beat the Slayer stuff into the ground. My first concert I remember going to was Los Lobos back in 2006. Yeah, that's another band that had a song in Guitar Hero, their cover of La Bamba in Guitar Hero 4. And I thought that was a good cover. Had a lot more interesting guitar parts. Extreme metal / thrash metal elitists are the most annoying of them all. Yeah. Them and the people that think that no good music was released after 1991. My first concert was Dokken, Skid Row, and Poison, which was back in 2006, 2007. That is an interesting lineup. Though, Dokken and Skid Row, I'm sure, since they're not in, like, their classic lineup, I'm sure that probably detracted a little. And also Bon Jovi with Daughtry opening for them in 2007. Wow, that's interesting. Skid Row I did go on to see in late 2015 when they had Tony Harnell of TNT as their singer before they kicked him out at the end of the year, and I was like, aw. And then they brought in ZP Third from Dragon Force. Dokken, I have no intention of seeing unless George Lynch is in the band. Poison, I have seen twice. First, they were opening for Motley Crue, and second, they were opening for Def Leppard. Agreed, always be respectful, and like CKN said, be a fan, not an elitist. And trust me, I dealt with many elitists. Actually, the Bon Jovi concert was 2008. Bon Jovi I saw in 2013. And the only downside to that was the fact that Richie Sambora was out of the band by then, and Phil X was brought on board. Phil X is a great player, don't get me wrong, but it's like, if only Sambora could have been in the band a little longer. Nostalgia purists, yeah. Nostalgia purists are just as bad as elitists in my opinion, honestly. I'm fine, Hector Gonzalez. The stream is gone from talking about a very troubling news story to a very fun stream. I'm probably gonna cut it soon, honestly, because I'm getting kind of hungry. Yeah, I've seen way too many Thrash Elias and Ugh. I hate them. And on a Chris Thrash's post, someone said anyone who listens to emo metal should... Well, Chris from J-Hall Films, he's definitely joking. But like I was kind of saying before, I do think it's really played out. First concert for me was Foo Fighters in February 2008. Good pick for a first concert. But seeing them at Fenway Park in 2015, that was one of the best concerts that was one of the best concerts of my life. Have you seen Alice in Chains live before? No, and it's debatable if I will. I actually haven't seen any of, like, grunge acts live before. Because now I'm not even sure I, can and whatnot. Soundgarden I wouldn't mind seeing, but, even if Soundgarden is continuing on, which are they? Is Soundgarden still continuing? No, it doesn't say they are. But if they were, I'm not sure how comfortable I'd be with seeing them. And that's sort of same with Alice in Chains. Stone Temple Pilots is definitely going to be a no for me. And that pretty much only just leaves Pearl Jam, and I'm not really the hugest into Pearl Jam. I'm not sure. At least not to a level where I'd really like to see them live, so I don't know. Elias are why music fans are hated. Like, dude, calm your bitch ass down. What do you think of the best new artist curse? Well, now I'm sad that's a thing. Fun fact, my parents named me after Lane Staley. Oh, your name's Lane? Wow. Seeing Jesus live was good shit. Of course it is. I saw Berlin live before the B-52s went on stage. Opinion on The Cure? They are my second favorite new wave band after The Police. Alice in Chains still does a great job today. So I've heard. A lot of people have really nice things to say about the Duval albums. I've just never really listened to them before. And like I said, I won't rule out the possibility of maybe seeing them live. You know, it's just kind of up in the air. It's something that I sort of have to decide on for myself and whatnot. Yeah, someone in the comment section who said that, and yeah, he's joking, but still, that elitist troll, excuse me, or people who said that are scumbags with no life. They fucking annoy me. I only saw Alice in Chains live once before, and that was when they opened for Guns N' Roses reunion tour. Dave Grohl is Jesus, yet he played Satan in The Pick of Destiny. That's one thing I've always loved about him. Yeah, I like Alice in Chains too. They're one of my favorite 90s bands. It's just, I'm just not completely sold on, the Duval era and whatnot, is where I'm kind of with them. They broke grunge sound and almost went semi-metal. I consider they do have a more metal sound than grunge bands tend to. That's why, I consider them to be a very early, alternative metal act. Todd covered 3 artists that got hit with the curse after getting the Grammy. Oh yeah. That would make for an interesting series for him. Sort of as an offshoot of One Hit Wonderland, a band that won the Best New Artist and then just, fell off the face of the earth and whatnot. Because one band I know that happened with is Tokyo Hotel. I think they opened up for Metallica. Wouldn't surprise me there. Only artist I saw live was Paramore. Favorite Iron Maiden songs with Paul Di'Anno. Wrathchild, definitely. Transylvania, definitely. Let me look at this. One of my favorite songs from Self-Titled. Prowler, Phantom of the Opera, Charlotte the Harlot, the title track. And from Killers, Wrathchild, like I said. Genghis Khan, Twilight Zone, Prodigal Son. Those I would definitely say are my favorite Di'Anno era Maiden songs. This may sound kind of dumb, but the only band I've seen live is One Republic. Too Late to Apologize is a guilty pleasure of mine. May seems to be the most in love with me in terms of concerts. Well, before Dave Grohl, there was Chad Channing. You've said that before. Do you like any scene bands like Asking Alexandria, Abandon All Ships, Devil Wears Prada? Someone already asked about The Cure up earlier in the chat. But yeah, I am a metalcore fan and whatnot. I wouldn't say I like a lot of too many of the bands that are considered scene. I'll have to scroll through it here and pick the ones that sort of have that label out. Devil Wears Prada, like you mentioned. Escape the Fate is kind of in that category. I See Stars, I think, could be classified as such. Of Mice and Men probably is classified in there. Scary Kids, Scaring Kids. Yeah. I can't really say. I'm not a fan of Asking Alexandria. Abandon All Ships, I don't think I've listened to. In the early years, Mark Lanegan. Yep. Purgatory is one of my favorites from the Paul era. Phantom of the Opera. And while I'm talking about Paramore, what is your favorite? At least, I'm actually not a fan of Paramore. Current Maroon 5 makes me wish they got hit with the curse back then. Yeah. If they were a one-album wonder, like they just made songs about Jane and then they just broke up, that would make for a really interesting story, like a band that got so big and did so little. That would be a cool story. Only concerts I've seen so far are Judas Priest, Deep Purple, and Iron Maiden with Raven Age. But I didn't see Raven Age since I came from Maiden. Raven Age is definitely worth checking out. They're one of my favorite, like, new metal bands. Tribute bands of the Carpenters and Depeche Mode. More Di'Anno songs. Paul Di'Anno era is pretty good. I love songs like Killers, Genghis Khan, Purgatory. Yeah, like the self-titled and Killers, they're both fine albums. I just like the Bruce Dickinson albums better. Paramore's alright. First two Maroon 5 albums you enjoy. Songs About Jane is actually one of my favorite albums of all time. Is it just me, or does Maiden's Prodigal Son have a number of similarities to the song of the same name by the Rolling Stones? I don't really know. I don't listen to much Stones. What do you want, Discord? Oh my fucking god. Okay, I should probably read this live. Apparently someone tried to make a swatting attempt on Gage the Doom Guy. This is in Kaz Warfox's server. Let me read this live. This sounds really fucking bad. I wish I was doing an announcement under better terms, but today is not the case. Half an hour ago, I was informed by Gage the Doom Guy that a swatting attempt was made on him. Someone apparently made a false report to his local police about how he killed his mother, and he was going to kill anyone else who arrived at his house. Of course, that was a load of bullshit, and thankfully the police were skeptical of such a claim, so when they arrived at his place, they realized just as they thought the report was full of shit, and everyone went home without getting hurt. Still, though, swatting is illegal, even if it is an attempt. Of course, I send my condolences to Gage and his family for such a disturbing inconvenience, and I also advised him to talk to his local police department so that in the near future this scenario could be avoided. It's unfortunate that Gage and his family had to deal with this, and as a result, me and others are trying what we can to get to the bottom of this. Any assistance would be appreciated. In the meantime, have a good day. Hopefully soon I'll have better news. I can't fucking type in this chat. General, let me type at Kaz. Just read your post on my stream. What the fuck? Wow. Well, hopefully more people are aware now. Damn. Like, I'm just shocked. Like, here I am just, trying to chill and whatnot, winding the stream down in a few minutes and whatnot, and then I get that. I'm like, damn. Holy shit. Gage, I don't know if you're watching this or if you're ever going to get around to watching this stream in your leisure time, but I hope you're doing okay, and I hope you are chilling out and, you're feeling at least a little better now that nothing, has happened and this was dealt with to the best of your abilities. Hopefully you are doing okay, and I hope to talk with you soon. Yes, they might not still be as bad as baby racists, not baby racists, baby rapists, but still, that's a pretty fucked thing to do, especially when making a false allegation and whatnot, like lying about somebody. Like, if you know Gage, he's very outspoken and ruthless with when he's doing a video on something or talking about something. He's very ruthless. He's really good with his zings. This is why I see a lot of potential in him as a ranter. But he gets a lot of really weird people, trying to, start shit with him. The kinds of people he attracts, it's like, how do you do it, man? It's weird how a guy as small as you can get this much people like this. Gage is a friend of mine in the ranting community. His channel is called Gage the Doom Guy. I'm friends with him. I'm sub to him. I support him and whatnot. And apparently someone tried to swat him. Oh god, I remember hearing some dreadful stories about people getting swatted. There was one time where a swatting ended with an innocent man getting killed by an officer's gun. Check out his channel, Gage the Doom Guy. He streams a lot of the time and talks about mostly, going after pedophiles and stuff and things of that nature. If you like a really raw approach to rants, then you'll dig him. Yeah, that's crazy with the swatting thing. Like I'm blown away that I even was reading that live on stream. Because, yeah, word needs to get out that something like that happened to him. It's conspiracy theory or false rumor. I honestly am speechless from what I just heard. Yeah, it is not Gage. Gage wouldn't go that far with something. All he does is just, like I said, take a sort of, kind of aggressive and kind of ruthless approach to his ranting style and, stuff like that. But he knows his boundaries. He knows his limits. It's not like he doesn't know his own strength or anything like that. He wouldn't go that far. Hope the best for those people as well who have to deal with BS like that. And it came from someone who has swatted others before. Shitheads like that deserve hellish prison. I believe... Wait, are you saying you know who did it? Or anything like that? Hey, Kaz. Yeah. I was actually planning on cutting the stream because I'm getting kind of hungry, but now that this came up, I now have a bit more fuel left in me, and we can talk a little more about this, because I really feel that this is something that there should be more awareness from. Yeah, Gage does put up with a lot. I vote execution. Our planet does not have room for asshats like them. Same could be said about me. I'm pretty speechless too. Like, screw some people. Yeah. Like, Gage is obviously much more aggressive with his approach than I think I am. I can be aggressive at times, but I'm mostly known for being more laid back and whatnot with how I go about things. Send Gage well wishes, yes. I just got off conversation with him about it. That's the reason why I spread the info immediately. And hopefully, my work here is appreciated and, making more people aware of this happening and whatnot, because, wow. Like, I know he deals with some really messed up people, but I didn't think any of them would have the capability of going this far with trying to get back at him. Like, it's fine to not like Gage. It's fine to not agree with him. But going to the police over it, it'd be one thing if Gage did something to warrant that, but he didn't. Knowing him, he's not the kind of person that would go that far. He's had, people, stalking his private life before. He knows not to do that to others. So, yeah. Unfortunately, people are pointing fingers at the moment as to who did it, but I'm asking around and examining evidence just to be sure. Good man. I'm sure you have your resources. What is the best concert festival you ever went to, and are there any concerts you regret not going to? One concert I regret not going to is the last G3 or G4 tour from Satriani. He had, who did he have with him? forget who he had with him, but that's what I regret not going to. The best concert I've ever been to is my first time seeing Satriani when I met him. The people who don't like Cage think he is an easy target. I don't really think he's that easy of a target because, like I said, he is quite ruthless with how he, goes about, responding to people and all that. Ironically enough, I'm kind of getting hungry as well, but yeah, I could talk for slightly more as well. Had food a few hours ago. Yeah, I'd like to get some food soon, but I'm still really just in shock that that something like this could happen to a dude like Gage. I hope he's doing okay. Kaz, if you're still watching, can you tell me how he is currently doing? Like, is he like in some state of aftershock, or is he calmed down, or anything like that? I don't know if I have a least favorite fast food. I kind of want to say Taco Bell because the only thing I like from Taco Bell is nacho fries that they keep. That's goes on and off being available and whatnot. I just looked it up. Tyler Barris is the name of the swatter I mentioned a little bit ago, and he got 20 year sentence in prison. Are we talking about the same guy? Or Gage is fine. The cops were skeptical of the claim, so they didn't even arrive with any hostility, so he's fine. Excellent. That is very good to know. Because holy fuck. Because if I were in that position, I would honestly be really pissed. Because it's not like Gage did anything illegal or anything like that. All he does is, like, be a loudmouth. I prefer a little prison for that piece of shit. Favorite pizza chain? I do have a soft spot for Domino's, but outside of that, either Papa Gino's or Sparrow. There used to be this piece of place town over from me in Natick. It used to exist. Natalie's is the name of this place. I drive past that sometimes. I don't think it exists. Oh, the Firehouse sub guy is back. For me, all fast food at the moment, because I rarely eat fast food since I live in a small town, plus it's very unhealthy, and considering I'm pretty chubby myself. Well, during this quarantine, it's like some of the only places I feel comfortable going to for food to get takeout and whatnot. Shades, you reminded me of something, but it's better if I remain tight-lipped. Okay. You can message me about that later. Because if you don't think that the stream is a good place to be talking about it, then it probably isn't. You have a nice speaking voice. Thank you. I don't really like the way I sound unscripted, which is why I don't like doing unscripted videos, but I appreciate that. Papa John's and Little Caesars. Okay. Never really liked Indian food. Oh, speaking of Papa John's, you know who loves Papa John's? John Dans Jr. Used to get Domino's all the time when I lived in Arizona as a kid. Why are we talking about pizza chains? We could be talking about sub chains. Okay. I don't know who this Firehouse Subs guy is, but fucking give him a medal. Subway, I do enjoy some Subway sometimes as well. Yeah, calm down. Calm down about Firehouse Subs and listen to Firehouse. Okay, now I'm feeling like kind of on edge and energized from the shock of hearing that shit about Gage. John Dans, he is a worthless pile of shit that Subway throws out every day. Oh, God. John Dans was slightly related to what you remind me of, speaking of which. But yeah, he actually hates Papa John's, not because of the food, but because of, I think, Papa John himself being conservative or something. I remember hearing about that, and I'm like, that's dumb. It's like, yeah, I don't agree with, the owner of, Chick-fil-A's, anti-gay views, but, I'm a sucker for Chick-fil-A waffle fries and whatnot. What do you think of TikTok as a way for songs to be hits nowadays? TikTok, I think, is cancer. The most it's really good for is just, stupid shit posting, like, what Brock Baker likes doing. He recently posted, like, a compilation of TikTok stuff that he made and whatnot. You have such an eccentric laugh, really. Lucky enough to have a Subway in my small town where I live. I used to, but they got rid of it. Now I have to go out a little bit for it. Firehouse Subs, you are an ultimate legend. Let me guess, capitalism, probably. Pizza Hut, I don't think I've actually eaten at Pizza Hut before. Do you remember whatever happened to Spiz Triz? I suppose I can tell this story before I head off. What happened with him was he started kind of going off the rails and being really, really, really nutty about, LGBT shit and whatnot, and being really out there about that. Like, one thing that comes to mind that I remember, this is like back in 2015. He was when Caitlyn Jenner first became like a trending subject. He made a post on Facebook saying that people who weren't making videos defending Caitlyn Jenner or something, if they weren't making videos defending her, they were transphobic cowards who are afraid of talking about it because they don't think that, they'll get, a lot of views or a lot of, likes or something like that. And that was when people really started kind of seeing that something was up with Spiz. And there was probably something else. One thing that I remember was he posted, like, a picture of himself with a toilet paper roll in his mouth with a caption saying, "This is how I trained to suck big black cock." And that was when I lost it with him. You know, I commented saying, "Dude, stop." And he comments back saying, "I thought the same thing about your entire YouTube channel." And that's when I stopped, you know, being cool with him. There was also something that he was getting really into it with drama, and it all culminated in him telling his fans to fuck off, and then deleting his channel and basically just saying that he just doesn't really care about it and whatnot. And then he just, you know, basically fucked off. Everybody, you know, basically turned their back on him because he was just not stable. And I have seen bits and pieces of what he's doing nowadays, and I don't really think he's changed that much. Honestly, he was kind of annoying to deal with in those times. Not all Chick-fil-A restaurants are anti-gay anyhow. Yeah, like there are people there that I wouldn't go out of my way to say are anti-gay. It's really just the CEO. I even have a friend of mine who mildly supports LGBT and works there. Yeah, like whenever I go there, there's usually this girl that takes my order, and she seems really nice. I don't think she hates gay people. Hot take, I think Chick-fil-A is overhyped. That's okay. We've banned John Tans from all of our active locations due to his incompetence and critiquing a Subway sandwich. What has 9 arms and annihilates grunge? Def Leppard. How to make John Dan's light a fuse in his tampon. Like, didn't you tell me you made that joke with him? We talking about Spiz. Last time I saw him, he was featured on the Stuff That Makes You Cringe Facebook page. Yeah, I remember he was also featured in, like, an emo fails compilation on YouTube. But I remember the cringe channel sharing him. I thought it was the Who gets annihilated. No. John Dans throws a huge tantrum about glam, though. Yes, that video. That embarrassing video. Europe! He literally fucking shouted about Europe in that video. He complained about Europe, Def Leppard, and Y&T. Sims, I know of. The drummer from Def Leppard is underrated. He really is. He's one of the best drummers ever, in my opinion, if only for the reason that he plays with one arm. I wouldn't even say John's in a hole right now. He's in, like... He's in, like, a hole that's, like, closed off from society. John insulted me, insulted my fiance, messaged me with garbage, and blocked me before I could say anything because my fiance had a different opinion from him. I'm not even going to dispute the idea of that being true, because that sounds just like something he would do. And do you want to know what came up before this, Def Leppard? That fucking video. And a little spoiler for Mary Dansmas 2, I am going to be making a reference to that. Do you have any real-life metal elitist experiences? I don't think so. I feel like I have, and I'm not remembering, but I'm not sure. John is in a state of denial. John is essentially below the Magnum, pretty much. Now that his channel's gone, he's basically, you know, put himself in this state of just nothing. he did see the Ronnie Radke video, and he did a response to it, a reaction to it, if you will. And he's like, oh, he's threatening me, ooh. Along with just making a bunch of no you arguments towards him. It was honestly kind of a worthless response. I don't like Ronnie Radke either, but he roasted the crap out of him. Yeah. That was a very legendary moment. I can't get over Shades doing the voiceovers of Chris from Trapped. All you're doing is kissing left-wing mainstream media's ass! Yeah. He deleted his channel. It's gone. Go search for it. It's gone. You search Undertaker Freak 1127, you're not going to find his channel, but you will find videos about him. He didn't just leave, he got rid of his channel. You need to see that. It's not hard to find. There are clips of Ronnie Radke roasting UTF. What he's doing is he's reacting to the Punk Rock MBA video about him. And the Punk Rock MBA video, if you haven't seen it, what the Punk Rock MBA likes doing in a lot of his videos is he samples old rants about the band he's talking about. And in his video about Ronnie Radke, he played a little clip from UTF's video about him that he made in like 2012, I think. And Ronnie Radke is live streaming himself reacting to Punk Rock MBA's video, and he gets to the part about UTF, and he just roasts the crap out of him. I never had a real-life Elise experience, but I've seen way too many on YouTube and Instagram, though, and other websites. Space Metal told my mom that same Nine Arms Def Leppard joke when he visited us in Arizona in 2018. He said The Who in place of grunge since my mom hates The Who. Aw, that's too bad. The Who was one of my favorite, 60s bands. Jesus, what a lol cow. John essentially sunk to the same low as Demon Dog. Demon Dog is just cringe. And he still wonder why no one will watch his content. He'll be back in time, and I'll be telling him that we happily banned him from bringing his poop-obsessed ass into our clean and sanitary establishments. Is his drum channel still up? I think so. Let me look. UTF drumming. His drumming channel still exists. So that's the only way he could come back to, doing anything, is if he used that channel or if he created a new channel. UTF did see the Radke clips. He did see it, and he reacted to that. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. And it's really funny, this is the same guy that said he hated reaction videos, and he made a reaction to Radke roasting him. As for me, I never really listened to The Who, so it's not a problem. Listen to the song Water. That's my favorite song of The Who. Also, I think you said in an older video that one time you were at the mall and you wore a Poison shirt and someone told you Poison's gay, listen to Slayer. I don't remember that happening, and I certainly don't remember talking about that in a video. Is his drum channel still up? More like, is his dumb channel still up? Oh my god, I love this Firehouse Subs guy. And did he disown the Archfiend? I don't think so. When I looked at the Radke, I actually tried watching his reaction to Ronnie Radke's reaction, which in itself sounds really dumb. And Archfiend was commenting there, so I think they're still cool with each other. Someone should make a documentary on old rant channels like UTF and Archfiend, etc. The only person I could see doing that is me. And that would be kind of hard to do considering I remember this is something that Mortimer brought up on the stream that I did with him about the state of the ranting community. A number of people have deleted their content. So it would be kind of difficult to do, but I'm sort of the ranting community historian. It could be an interesting project for me to do, but it would take a while. Metal elitists are definitely the biggest problem in metal. Them and nostalgia tards. Those are the biggest problems in metal nowadays. And are absolutely ridiculous, especially I'm looking at you, Morgul Lord or whatever. You saw those videos from me. Muck Fetalcore. Space Metal, I know, has a lot to say about Muck Fetalcore. Firehouse subs, I'll eat your subs as long as you humiliate John Dance. Where did UTF upload it? It was on his channel, but his channel is gone. So it's gone now. Tara Strong was in Danny Phantom, voiced Ember McLean. Do it, though. You know, I'm going to add that to the list of things that I want to do on YouTube before I throw in the towel. I want to have done that. As, like, you know, a sort of history of the ranting community video. Maybe I'll do some interviews for that, too. That would be fun. Thoughts on Fear Factory? They are my favorite industrial metal band. And their song Archetype, which is my favorite song of theirs, has my favorite drum beat of all time. I was once a part of his pathetic crowd. Lots of us were. Most, if not everybody in the ranting community and in the circle were at one point a fan of UTF. That includes myself. I was a fan of his once upon a time. But yeah. I think it's safe to say that John has bipolar disorder. Wouldn't surprise me. Next quarantine, make a documentary of the ranting community. Love to see that. That would be cool. It'd be a cool, like, Emp Lemon YouTube Geographic style video. Muck Fetalcore is an idiot, especially. Hopefully he changed since a decade has passed. I'd like to think that. I'm not sure, though. Ranting Community Reunion. Get Vlog raising the gang back. I'm not sure how much Vlog Raise is really wanting to do with me these days. I don't know. Are people like Brain Enema, Vlog Raise viable for interviews? I think I still have Brain Enema added on Facebook. I haven't talked to her in a while, though. Like, ever since I made my MDA video, I haven't spoken to her. I've seen her make some really cringy Facebook posts. Tara Strong is amazing. Tina Turner, Twilight Sparkle, Bubbles, her characters. She's a legendary voice actress, I should say. She is kind of a bitch, though. John called me an idiot for liking Cannibal Corpse. Cuck Metalcore's favorite words: faggot, gay, homosexual, filler, overrated, fucking sellout. UTF, ironically, is the Metallica of the ranting community. Everyone was obsessed with him at one point. Yeah. Everybody basically goes through a phase where they really like his content. They think he's like the smartest guy on YouTube. And then then as you get older, you get into more content creators, you realize that his content really isn't anything special. And you start to notice how shitty his attitude is and how shitty he treats people, and then you walk away. I don't hate Brain Enema. She's been nice to me. She's just kind of crazy. Brain Enema is like Bernice Morgan. Exactly. I think I was actually the one who made that comparison. But yeah, why hasn't Official GATG made a video in a while, though? His last video was from last December. I would like to see him come back. I even offered to edit for him if he wanted. He's just really busy with work and his music and dealing with a car crash that he got into. Except Metallica does not betray their own principles to the degree UTF would. But they made Saint Anger, though! I've heard not very good things about how Tara Strong is off camera and whatnot. I used to be friends with Brain Enema back in the day, but I felt weird having some grandma I don't know on Facebook and removed her. I stopped associating with Brain, and she freaked out on one of the episodes of the Drama Train podcast. I remember that happening. I remember her making a video kind of freaking out about being talked about on that thing, and then made a video bashing everybody there, and then MDA did a video on that. That's like one of the last MDA videos I remember liking at all. The YouTube ranter who did MDA, you're thinking of Queenie Martha. That's who you are thinking of. She also kind of fucked off because she was one of the few people that actually defended MDA when you know what came out about him. And not sure if I want to say what I know now about Queenie. I'm not sure this is really an appropriate place to be talking about it. Yeah, especially Cuckfettlecore's very cringy voice, which I'm assuming he's Scandinavian or Russian, something, trying to speak English. How do you like Emp Lemon's Never Ever videos? The SpongeBob one is the only one that I have watched. I'm interested in checking out the Stanislav Petrov one. I'm not sure I'm interested in NASCAR or the Monday Night Raw one. But the SpongeBob video was one of my favorite videos of his, and one of his best videos in my opinion. I wish Count Blagareth would come back to do rants. Yes. To me, he's sort of Cover Killer Nation light, but I always thought he was a cool dude, and who had some pretty cool insights. And yeah, I do comment on his videos occasionally. I know he's done some Metal Elitist videos way back in the day, and there are some others that I remember, like this one. He had this one video on a guy that was trying to expose him for being, you know, a sellout or something. I don't know. It was something along those lines. Just because he uses something mainstream like the internet or something like that. Queen and Phoenix are having a grand old time in Mexico. I'm sure they are. Used her assets for YouTube. Yeah, the thing I'm holding back on, it has something to do with that, but I'm not going to say what, because this is not an R-rated channel. Does anyone Rantopedia? I remember that. Doesn't exist anymore, but I wish it. But sometimes I wish it did. They had the best video on the whole Truth Hurts Network thing. I think I remember that. I do remember Nate kind of trying to have a whole like ranter news thing with that, and that didn't really take off. He was the one that created the Rantopedia wiki and was the one that took it down too. But I thought it was an all right kind of archive, all right method for discovering people. That was sort of what led me to looking into Blue Magus for the first time. Was reading about him on there, and then checking out his videos. Whatever happened to Matt Watson? Myself, Chelsea, and Thrash Metal Guru have a theory as to what happened to him. I'm not sure I want to talk about it here, but I do remember him. He was a cool-ass dude to talk to back in the day. Such a friendly motherfucker. And I do remember that when UTF was quitting smoking and he posted pictures of cigarettes on his Facebook and got him mad. You probably don't know him, but do you like Killbot and Gorgoratak? No, I don't know who that is. Count Blagareth's mother passed away a year ago. I remember him talking about that. That probably took the wind out of his sails. Tig old biddies. Fuck. It is dead. Did I say a no? I'm just happy John is gone off YouTube and Firehouse Subs can continue our business without having that smell of shit in the air. Some guy 27. Yeah, he has a habit of deleting his videos a lot too. Him and Take Shot in particular, come to mind. I've tried talking to Take Shot about at least making his videos unlisted, but for whatever reason, he just doesn't seem to want to. One of these days, I kind of want to do a stream with him, just so he can catch up with people and all that. What is your least favorite metal channel, not including John or Undertaker Freak? Muck Fettlecore would definitely probably be in there. Demon Dog. That voice crack. I don't know. Depends what you mean by metal channel. Depends if you mean like, a metal vlogger or metal reviewer or like anybody in the guitar entertainment community that specializes in metal stuff. Spell Strawlana backwards. Ha 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 ha. Killbot and Gorgor can be seen as a good replacement for Count Blagareth. Another person that hasn't uploaded in a while is Infidel Amsterdam. He is a very wise man. Stevie doesn't want to be known for Onision. It's understandable. I understand how he feels. He wants to, do other stuff and not just be the Onision guy. But one thing's for sure. The Hanson interview he did with him will always be a legendary moment for me in YouTube history. John's ex Emily left him because he licked a toilet seat and didn't brush his teeth afterwards. Fuck. I still got my little train whistle from the drama train. You actually owned a train whistle? You actually owned one? Like physically? He has mentioned before in streams that he's more focused on hangout, streams, and music. Ranting on and gets tired and draining. Yeah, he's definitely said that a number of times. How it's mentally draining, and it had kind of an effect on his mental health and his personal life and whatnot, and he had to kind of put an end to it. Very respectful, along with the fact that, for a lot of people, Onision is kind of seen as a lost cause, and, the Hanson investigation is only doing like so much at the moment with trying to really get to the bottom of things and whatnot. I'm still hopeful that something can come from that. But prior to when that became, a thing again, the view I always had was that, Onision was a dead horse and that, people should stop beating a dead horse because it's kind of annoying and whatnot. And there's only so much new to bring to the table and whatnot. But that's why I wasn't really upset whenever Stevie would say that he was done with Onision and whatnot. So I can't really blame him in that regard. But in general, I have heard he's wanting to focus more on doing music and whatnot. And he is a talented musician. So I do wish him luck with there. I just don't want him to forget us little people. Deathcore needs to end. Oh, yeah! There was a channel called Deathcore is Not Metal. A text-to-video channel. Really fucking cringe. Same with Owl316. That guy was awful. Oddly enough, John argued with me about trades once. He argues about everything. Did he debate on what his favorite train was? Yes, and he got mad and blocked one of my accounts. Any updates on your opinions on Mark Muse? I still listen to the podcast that he does with Rap Critic, mainly just so I can see if it's gotten better and whatnot, and seeing if they actually follow through, because I have heard them say that they're wanting the podcast to be less political, and I'm kind of holding them to that. And, I am hopeful that Muse can improve his attitude and whatnot. But that could just, again, be the optimist in me talking. Emily said John has straw on a backward. Oh, man, if he does, that would be wonderful. Freely the Banana Girl and Vegan Gains, they're they're cringe too, totally. I don't know if you saw this, but somebody, I can't think of the name right now, made a video about Steve T basically exposing him. You mean Steve Terraberry, or are we talking about someone else? Because I definitely have my things to say about Steve Terraberry, but I'm not sure if I remember anybody like exposing him or anything like that. He's basically saying how he keeps constantly making fun of Richard Benson, knowing he has arthritis, and now expired kids to basically look up porn. Oh yeah, I do remember him saying something about that in a video, how he was thinking of privating the Richard Benson video or taking it down or something. I haven't seen any video exposing him on that, but I do remember that being brought up. I don't know. I still think the Richard Benson video is funny. At least for what it is. The Richard Benson gag, the Richard Benson thing. I genuinely found that funny. Because if you don't know, Stevie T's content nowadays I kind of find to be throwaway a lot of the time. But yeah, I didn't know anything like that happened. I don't have any recollection of him mocking Richard Benson's arthritis, and I have no idea what the inspiring kids to look up porn refers to. Still listen to the podcast as well. Not going to answer that. Respecting privacy. Okay. Yeah. I do like his content for the most part. It's just that a lot of his shit nowadays is just kind of filler. Oh yeah, Deathcore needs to end. In his about said, if you do this, I win. If you do that, I also win. This reminds me of another person from like that era. Probably the person that inspired my crusade against metal elitists. The channel is called Poser Exposure 1978, who used to be called Grindcore Joel 78. But yeah, I remember him being really fucking obnoxious. Deathcore's not metal. I like how Elias will say bands like Whitechapel aren't metal, but AC/DC is. Really? I don't even think AC/DC is metal, but really. Oh yes, I remember when I heard those rules on my YouTube description. Oh dear. His name was KDH. I'll send it to you on Facebook. And yeah, I feel bad for Richard Benson, but yeah, it was very funny when he was, hitting his guitar. Yeah. Obviously, I don't think Stevie T had any, bad intentions. He was just trying to make some funny goofs and whatnot because he was seeing the videos of Richard Benson being all noodly and stuff. Gonna hit the hay, but just like UTF, I'll be back. Yes. Yeah, I realize I've been streaming, for longer than I've been wanting to, but I like how engaged everybody is here and the conversations that have been going on and whatnot. This is why I like doing these streams. But yeah. Honky the Bear, Core Fucking Sucks, Scene Kids Are Gay, Tank 1450, and so many classic cringe galore channels that are now long gone. Yeah, I'm sure there are others that I'm not thinking of that I might have remembered. Yeah, true. Metal elitists fucking suck and are so superficial and judgmental. Exactly. That's why I've been making my videos, and I only really have one or two more ideas for that series. Yeah. Oh yeah, another guy I remember from that era, True School Hooligan. He was actually the first person that I ever blocked on my channel. Because he was being obnoxious and starting shit. This has to be a fucking sock account. or not a sock account, a parody account that's in the chat right now, Undertaker Freak 1128. because the real UTF would actually be saying much more worse things to me that I really don't feel comfortable talking about. Der, I'm UTF. Metallica should fire Lars, and YouTubers should get a job, even though they're passionate about making videos, der. But yeah, this is definitely a troll. Don't feed the troll. But yeah, I want to look. That's actually a fucking picture of him in the, as the icon. Okay. Okay, that was a good laugh. The real UTF is a bitch. He is. I'd put his ass through a table. That reminds me, James Hetfield should get into a fight with him, speaking of tables. Somebody once asked UTF if he'd rather poop, vomit, or vomit, poop. And he had the most, what the fuck, Luke? Oh, God. Okay. Space Metal, yeah, I agree. Those channels do suck. And on Elitists, I might make 1 or 2 videos since they suck. Since, heck, I started watching your channel was from the Elitist videos. Cool. I feel like that's how most people tend to discover my channel, is through finding those videos or something. Maybe make a video airing out your frustrations with him. Like, I mentioned earlier in the stream that I was going to be making a sequel to Mary Dansmas 2. Not a sequel to Mary Dansmas 2. What the fuck? A sequel to Mary Dansmas. Basically with some new jokes and references and whatnot. That's not going to be coming out until Dansmas, November 27th. So as long as UTF stays gone, that is something that you can look forward to. Because I updated the script for that, and there's going to be, and I've shown Space Metal the script, actually, because I was originally planning on him actually making a cameo for a part in there, but I really go hard with the roasts in this one. I have no problem throwing bombs at UTF. I wonder if UTF lost one of his shitty retail jobs or his videos. I wouldn't say... I don't like the idea of something like that happening, because if it can happen with him, it can happen with anybody. I don't... But, at the very least, I hope that people at his job at least make fun of him for his videos. Ugh, excuse me. Ugh, fuck those people who mock musicians' death. They are the worst. I'd seen those comments saying good, and someone died, more specifically the one guy who died from falling in reverse. Oh yeah, I think I heard about someone from that band dying. I remember they did that when Mitch Lucker died. I remember they did that with when Paul Gray died. Bro, you better put the Ronnie Radke clip. Yes, I am going to be making reference to the Radke thing. I won't leak it here, but it will be the best one yet. Much like how classic sequels like Aliens surpassed the original, this Dansmas will surpass the original. It's going to be the Toy Story 2 of my videos. Or something like that. I'm done having beef with Spider-Man. I don't understand. Okay. I think I've streamed for enough. I think I'm gonna cut the stream now. This this was really fun. I loved this stream. Have you come across a YouTuber named D2258? No. Don't think I've heard of that. But yeah, thank you guys for making this stream really fun and really energetic and, you know, engaging. Had a lot of fun topics in this one. And yeah, I'll say again, to Gauge the Doom guy, if you ever decide to watch this, I hope you are doing okay, buddy. So, thank you for watching. Take care and have a good rest of your night.